Welcome to the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's at his ideal weight if he were 10 feet tall, beef loaf. Never holding but always partaking, not hungry but will eat, my Sox Summer. And your host, he's aged and smells like a sharp cheddar, Terezi E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink.
Yes.
If My Sox Summer talks about bobbleheads, or mentions his time on the West Coast, or does not know a player in the MLB, you drink.
Or makes odd pauses during while reading this statement.
I never go to the third one, so I needed an extra pause for the or. All right.
Or
and if I swear or say here's the thing, then you drink. And My Sox Summer drinks twice. You motherfucker.
Such a dick.
Beef Loaf, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, boys, I got to be honest
man.
with you. I'm having a bit of a bad week right now, okay?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but Twitter fleets absolutely fucking gone. Jack from Twitter, you go fuck yourself for that. I was the fleet fucking master, Terezi. I was becoming one of the biggest fleeters in our little group right here. A lot of fleets get a lot of views and interactions. The fleets were pulled out. The fleet rug was pulled out from under me, man. It's totally screwed. And second this week, NBC Sports Chicago, which I thought I was cool with them. They unveiled their top 3 Sox Math videos for July. And lo and behold, the fucking Beef Loaf is not in there. Now, I don't want to brag or anything. I don't like to brag about myself. I don't like to talk about how good I do things. But you can't even imagine there'd be a video that had more fucking interaction than my hot tub video for Sox Math winner. So my question is for you guys, okay? I got a question for you. And I'm going to need your help. And the people in the chat, you can feel free to give me your help as well. Who over there in that team should I hold a grudge against? And I'm going to list the names of the players who may or may not be holding this against me, and it did put me in the final 3. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, Chris Kamka, Chris Withers, who's the producer, or the mayor, Mean Joe Group. Who should I hold? Who should I have some vigor against? Who should I be pissed off at right now that I was not in the top 3?
I got outside the box on you here.
Go for it.
Garfine. And here's the thing. He does not want to put attention towards our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Because he doesn't want people to know about Chuck Trylock.
Yeah, Chuck Trylock.
Yep.
He's
right.
worried
Chuck Trylock in you.
about the Chuck Trylock. Beef? It was a huge diss track against you to say like, hey, this guy's not even included. But you know what? The other thing is the second best video not included either. The Sox Side boys did that whole "It's Always Sunny" bit, and no love, not even.
Yeah.
They, now I'm like really compounding on Chuck because I think maybe he don't want to send any attention away from his podcast.
Oh, yeah,
he'll
that's
be giving
right.
attention to other podcasts.
That's right. It's a competition out there,
man. I didn't think we were like that. I didn't think we were like that.
I thought we was all pros. I thought we was cool, man. What the hell?
Yeah, we all celebrate each other's victories usually, unless we're paid by the man, like the Chuck Garfines. I don't think that I don't think you can hold Jason or Steve liable because first of all, I don't think Steve gives a fuck about anything. Like Steve's like, do whatever you guys want. This is your bullshit.
Well,
Benetti.
What if they showed Steve the tennis video though?
Well,
oh man, I told them not to. I said, do not. This is not for anyone to see. Steve is not allowed to see this. I'm just taking a little shot at him,
You shouldn't ever tell somebody not to do something because as I've learned with my kids, I'm like, don't pick your nose. They pick their nose. Don't you go over there and pick that up. They go over there and pick that up. So it's just like you're using reverse psychology. I know you're smart. So, that's just kind of what it is. Now, if you want to go after a Benetti, you can go after Benetti because he cares. He 100% cares.
I don't think it was Benetti. I
This
think
is his
because
thing.
as I told you guys in private, I don't know if I mentioned this on a podcast or anything like that. But Jason DM'd me later that night, and he said, superb video. He really loved it. And him and Stoney both got a lot of jokes out of that video. So I don't think they would be against me. I really don't think
that's the thing. He can't publicly come to terms with it. It's like a guy riding a moped. You know, you don't want your friends to see you on it, you know, but it's fun as hell while you're on it. So that they definitely love the 108 whole thing or whatever. But they can't tell their friends and buddies they like it. They definitely can't tell the whole listening audience that they like it all the time. They say sometimes, you know, they definitely know that, you know, they're in our corner, but like they can't like go, okay, now we really have to like show everybody that they like it. So I don't know. Who's the other guy, the Withers guy?
Yeah, Chris Withers. He's the producer.
Let's kill that fucker. Let's just get him. We'll get him. All right, that's who I think we should go after.
We're gonna put the vigor against. We're gonna be upset against.
He might not like. He might not like you.
Against that dude, you know. He might not like me. Yeah.
You have a beautiful tan. You have a beautiful hot tub. If I know anything about production work and TV, the guy gets paid shit. He does not have a TV. He might not even have like a bath. He probably just has a shower, a stand-up shower in his lonely one-bedroom apartment over in Bronzeville. And it's okay, bud. It's okay. But don't take it out on Loaf because he rose to the occasion, makes lots of money, and has hot tubs and can take his shirt off whenever he wants. So let's get him that. We'll get that motherfucker.
You know what? I got one quick bone to pick with you, MSS. Fucking tub, man.
Fucking tub.
Stand-up shower is superior.
Yeah, bathtub.
Superior, man. I know you got kids. All right, I know.
I'm just saying, it's really hard to get a 2-month-old to take a shower in a stand-up shower. It's like just stand up, and they keep falling down like they can't walk or anything. So it's annoying.
I think that's bad parenting.
Plus, when you get old as hell, you need a bath too because you be slipping and breaking shit and then like dying. It's gonna be bad.
No, I will stop bathing. That's already the plan.
You'll get one of those walk-in tubs that you put the little thing over and just sit down and then it fills up on you.
When I retire from working, I'm retiring from bathing too. Like what?
That's it. Just a nice clean break from everything.
I just sit on the couch now. Occasionally, my wife hoses me down.
Just space Febreze around you. That's all.
I was going to say that or just dumps vodka on him because that kills everything. That's why you're still healthy and don't have any, you're not a leper. Your parts aren't falling off you.
And your Fromunda cheese will continue to keep growing. Everything will be fine. He asked for it with that.
I did ask for that.
Fromunda.
Beef, do you have your answer now? It's Chuck.
That's Chuck. It's Chuck.
All right.
I agree with you. It's Chuck, yeah.
We're not going to kill Withers, huh? Fuck man.
He doesn't even know his name. He's like, kill that guy. We don't know his name.
It's going to be really sad because there'll be a Winters and a Withers there, and I'll kill the wrong one first, and then go, oh shit, no, I'm sorry. Mr.
Withers just sounds like a guy from Scooby-Doo. So I assume if you pull his mask off, it's Chuck anyways. And when I meet him, I'll try and rip his face off. We'll see what happens.
Good plan. I like the plans you guys are developing here. This is all a good idea.
My Sox Summer, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. We just got back from a 4-day vacation up in Wisconsin. I'm not going to pronounce the lake name right. And my wife is down here doing laundry and looking at me like, what is he going to say?
Lake?
What happened on the trip? What's he going to talk about? What's the dirt? You know, which there is no dirt because everybody in the house showered immediately upon getting out of the Lake Koshkonong. So, or whatever, right? Is it Lake Koshkonong? Yeah, that's what it is. So the funny thing about this lake is that there's this lake and it is it's a nice lake, but it feeds into the Rock River. And we used to have a place in Dixon on the Rock River. Okay. So I am 100% familiar with all of this water, right? Like, it's just like, it's dirty, it's muddy. Yep. It's just like, the whole thing is the same. This is what I grew up in. So my daughter, like we've been there before, but she was much younger and wasn't like as fully mobile as she is now, where she could just kind of do her own thing. So we're out on the side of the dock, and she's jumping in the water, and there's like mud, and as a fat guy. Like I'm sinking down in the mud, like, like this, like, and then when I would go out further, I would get to like my knee and I'd be like, yeah, this isn't good. Like fat guys can't walk on mud. Like this is not good.
My Sox was turning mud into quicksand. He was going to perish. Like he was going to have the scene in Blazing Saddles where they got the thing and they ground in the quicksand. That was you right there.
I just, literally. And when my nephew, who's not little, like he's going to be a junior in high school, he's like, come on out, man. It's not that deep. I go, it's not that it's because it's deep. It's the mud, like it's deeper. And then I'm going to die. And I don't want to do that. So anyway, my kids are out and my youngest is 3. So she's not really like all there yet. But the oldest one, little Miss Shortstop, she is jumping off the float, jumping off the dock. She's flying all over the place. But while she's there, like I'm sitting on this big floaty that we had, and she's like reaching down into the mud and trying to pull out different objects. And this is something I 100% did as a kid. Like, oh, here's a clam, here's a rock, here's this. Now, in my experience, most of it was pull top beer cans because people would be driving their boats around and just flip beer cans out, and like I would pull up a half rusted out PBR that was jagged edged, which could like cut the shit out of my foot, and that's what I'd be grabbing with my hand. The best thing I ever pulled out was a pitchfork. A pitchfork head was right while we were all swimming with no shoes on and just running around like fucking crazy. There's a fucking like rotting, rusted pitchfork head. So my daughter is doing this, and I in my head, and I had a lot of 312s, a couple of the 312 shandies. So I'm like getting like not emotional, but I'm very, very like, oh, this is awesome. Your daughter's doing something. I've never communicated this with her. Like, hey, this is what I used to do as a kid. She's just doing it because that's what you do. Like, she's totally entertained. She pulls out a pair of fucking Oakleys that had been on the stuck in the mud for God knows how long.
Put them on.
Right? So, oh, no, I don't have them. This is the best part of the story.
Those are White Sox Dave's Oakleys.
She goes, he looked really good at them. So she pulls them out and she goes, oh, I got some sunglasses. Oh, shit. She didn't say shit, but she's like, shit, they're broken. And then she like puts them up and I'm like, you just pulled out a pair of Oakleys. These are like $100 pair of sunglasses. They're just missing like one of the sides. So we get up to the house because the house is like, probably a good like 3-minute walk from like where we're at, and I go, hey, go tell your cousin that you got him a new pair of sunglasses, and because he gave her like this big bag full of sunglasses that they had as kids that they don't fit into anymore because they're one's in college and one's in high school. So I was like, go give them to him. So we give them to him, and he was like, oh my God, this is awesome. He's like, there's only missing one side. And I was like, yeah, it's only missing one side. And I'm like, you can buy new lenses on eBay for like $20. And then he cleaned them all up. He's ready to go. So I was like, listen, Oakley has like a lifetime warranty on their frame. So like you could send this in or you make a claim and say, I want another piece, and they'll send you a fucking piece and you get a new thing. You can have a nice pair of Oakleys for next to nothing, man, like $30. You'd be so happy. So I just thought it was great. The part that was the most important to me is that my daughter was doing the same thing I did, and we never really even talked about it. And I was going to work this into the end of the show because I was like, oh, we'll talk about things like, when did you notice that your kid was like, doing something that you did, but fucking dumb fuck Teresi doesn't have no kids, so he couldn't participate in the thing. So it's like, that's not fun. Why have a 3-way discussion? If we can only get 2 out of the 3 people participating. So let's get a 3-way. So
I could just watch.
It's true. That is true. That's 100% true.
I don't touch them. I just watch. You'd be like the Colonel. You'd be just like the Colonel.
No, it was cool though. It was fun, and I got to see my girls do things that I used to do, and then be like kind of in that same environment, and thriving, and like this really like thrived. And then we stopped at a water park today on the way home, like a little splash pad in Janesville, Wisconsin. And like my daughter's been telling me for weeks, she's like, Dad, I'm really nervous. And I know she's just looking for attention, but she's like, Dad, I'm really nervous because I don't think I'm gonna make friends at my new school. We're at like this water park in fucking bumfuck, Wisconsin, and she like has got like latched up with a girl within 13 seconds upon like entering the park, just like, and they're running around, and so much so that at the end of the day, the girl's like, can I get your guys' number? And I was like, oh, I don't know, she doesn't have a phone, she's 5, and And the dad was like, yeah, he's like, I think she's too young for that kind of shit, you know. And I was like, yes. So.
My Sox Summer. I want to shift back to your digging in the lake, in the creek, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you get your hands down in there. You ever get bit by anything? Fucking turtles and snakes and shit. There's a lot of shit in them. Like garfish.
Jason Voorhees.
There wasn't. You know what? There wasn't a lot of snakes, and I don't like snakes. And but there wasn't a lot of snakes that I ran into. We were mostly, but yes, there's like catfish, and then there's alligator gars that have razor
things will fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we used to find tons of them. Yeah, we found tons of those. They're young, so I've been bit by those. Yeah. I've been bit by a snapping turtle. That's not fun. And the big ones are nasty. And then I've been stung by catfish. So yeah,
right. The little mustaches sting.
I think the worst thing I remember as a kid though is a buddy of mine wasn't wearing, like, we had river shoes, and like he forgot his or something. He's like, fuck it, I ain't worried about it. And he went out and he like sliced his foot like wide the fuck open. And like they had to take him to the like emergency room and shit. And then I just remember giving him shit.
MSS pulled the pitchfork out of his foot and said, I found this.
Like, put it together. No, he was all
I got.
He's all diced up, and I'm like, you fucking ruined our weekend, dude. What the fuck? Like, this is our whole weekend, and now we got to go to the goddamn fucking emergency room because you're bleeding all over the place. What a dick.
Never hung out with that asshole again. Fuck that guy.
No, good stuff. Chorizo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Good pause, by the way. I appreciate it.
I was trying to think if he'd already said something, and then I was like, no, he didn't. All right, go for it.
I've been watching a lot of the Olympics, because I get up early for work, right? Like, there's oh, good God,
sorry.
That was nice.
So like,
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
There's typically nothing else on, right? Like, so I'm watching.
Sal, go fuck yourself, Sal.
And then, or like, if there's like 30 minutes here or there, like where like I'm waiting for the Sox or something to play, like watch it. So me and Cornsey are watching table tennis the other day, right? And I just kind of was thinking to myself, like, how fucking good do you have to be at ping pong to stop calling it ping pong and call it table tennis? Like, imagine I told you, hey, Beef, I had a really great session of table tennis today.
Oh my God.
You'd be like, get the fuck out of here with table tennis. You played ping pong.
Right, exactly.
Like, how good does one have to be? Like, do you have to make the Olympics to start calling it table tennis?
It's probably like a thing in other countries, right? Like they're like, yeah, we're gonna go play some table tennis, like, because they're more refined, and the Americans are like, fuck that, it's ping pong.
I think the moment you are doing a volley, still call it a volley, right? Table tennis.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You're doing a volley and you're 8 feet off the table. It's table tennis at that point. If you're bellied up to it and you can barely hit anything, that's ping pong right there.
What do they call the table then?
If you're fucking massing shit and you're 8 feet behind the table and shit, and you're trying to hook it just over the net, that's table tennis.
What do they call it though when you're gonna go buy like a table? A tennis table, like, do they call it a table tennis table?
No, like, if you go to the,
what do you call it?
If you go to the store to buy one, it's called a ping pong table.
Right.
But you go to the Olympics, it's the court. Like,
they call it court. But like, let's say you're gonna go say as a guy, so you're good at it, and you call it table tennis. What do you call the motherfucker when you're gonna buy it? You're like, I need to go get a table tennis table. Like, is that what they say? Or are they table tennis court table?
If you called and you said, I need a table tennis court, they'd be like, you mean a fucking ping pong table, asshole?
Is that how they would say it in France too? Because I don't know. They might not. Parlez-vous?
Great French. I appreciate it.
Listen, hey, I'm
glad you went there with that.
My only exposure to French people is Pepe Le Pew. So I mean, just let it go. It's a horned up squirrel. I mean, it's skunk.
Horned up squirrel.
I mean, I can't be held responsible for that.
Yes, it is a skunk.
A table for tennis table.
You're so cultured.
I am not cultured.
Tracy, on the Olympics thing, you're talking about the Olympics here, and I noticed that there's two groups of people. one group that like they crave and want to watch all these fucking events, and another group that just doesn't give much of a shit about the Olympics in general. Anyway, you sound like you're just like by happenstance catching it, but you are choosing that channel. So why are you hooked into the Olympics? What's your draw to the Olympics? You could be watching anything else. You could put on fucking a DVD or pull up something on demand, but you're choosing to watch the Olympics. Why are you in on the Olympics?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Because I only have like a little bit of time here and there, right? Like, so I don't have a time like I don't have a time to watch a documentary or something. And a lot of the time it's in the morning. Like it's like 6 a.m. And so like there's a lot of shows and stuff that I would watch, but like I typically watch them with quarantine, so I'm not going to watch those shows, right? Like so usually at that time I'll put on like local news or something. So Olympics is better than local news. Like that's all they're beating out for me, right? And so like and you know it's sports of different types. I think there's more than two groups though, Beef. So let me give you there's people who are wildly fanatical about the Olympics.
Yeah.
Based on country.
Yeah.
There's people that played some of the sports that are the only popular in the Olympics. Okay. And I feel like they gravitate towards the Olympics. Yeah. Right? Like I mean like
it's time for their sport to shine.
Like Bruhan Luke,
sport that no one's ever heard of. That's the time, man.
Bruhan Luke was at the game last night and he had his phone up watching some track and field, right? Because he's a track and field guy. So like I get that. And then there's a group that's just like, I don't give a fuck about the Olympics. I'm closer to that group. Yeah. But I just like sports in general. So like I could watch amazing athletes. Like and that's, you know, the Olympics is just a ton of amazing athletes doing different shit. And so what it is, and so like it's always fairly entertaining. Like it's not like it's a hard watch. And especially the good thing about it that I like is that most of the things in the Olympics, with the exception of like basketball games or softball games or something like that, the events are like 45 seconds, you know, like, or they're like 12 minutes, right? Like no one's swimming for 2 hours. Like, I mean, maybe there are events like that, but that's to me, that's just drowning.
I don't think they are. I was going to swing it back on you. Yeah, you like sports and everything, but you also like music, but I guarantee you're not going to watch fucking Yanni or some bullshit, or you're not going to tune into Joe Satriani and listen to him play.
Oh, he'd watch both those two guys.
No, he wouldn't. He would not, and that's what I'm saying. The watching the good athletes is, you know, I'm not sure that's a thing because some of the stuff you might not even enjoy the talent because you're not really realizing it doesn't affect you in that way.
I definitely am amazed by the swimmers because I can't swim. But no, I get what you're saying. And like, to be totally honest, you know, it's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't turn on those other things just because they're not usually live at that time, right? Like, so I'm like flipping through the channel. It's like Olympics are on 42 of the 48 channels I have. And I'm just like, I'm gonna pick one of these and I'm gonna watch it. I'll be entertained.
Renato Lopez is now in the game and he just gave up a run, so that's 3-1.
That's unfortunate, mostly for him.
Or maybe he didn't give up a run. Maybe it was already 3-1. But yeah, Raylo's in, and that's.
No, I think someone just hit a bomb. So that's
I think that's what happened.
All right,
not good. That was my Reynaldo Lopez's in face, as you saw earlier. Is like,
I've got a couple questions for you guys, but the first question that I have for you is the show poll.
Nice.
Ooh.
We just passed the trade deadline, so let's do something. Let's do movies about trading.
Oh, I love it.
My Sox Summer, you could go first.
I love that I just blacked out right when that happened. I'm going to go with probably my favorite movie about trading, and it's about the scandals. It's about everything. Plus, it's got a lot of cocaine in it. I'm going to go with The Wolf of Wall Street, which is like probably one of my favorite movies ever. I saw that in the theater. I was not expecting a guy to do some felching on live on stage, you know, right in front of me on the big screen. So that
happened
in
the movie theater.
Well, no, it's on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't think it was felching because you're sniffing cocaine, so I don't think that's technically felching. Feel free to Google felching if you want to. Not on your parents' computer though, if you're under the 18. But yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. Margot Robbie is this. Good stuff.
She's nice. There's no
Yeah,
question.
and plus it's a funny as fuck movie. Like it was brought up this weekend by my niece who is gonna go off to college about how she saw that movie, and my eyebrows went like off my head. I think I was like, whoa, oh my god, you saw a man sniff cocaine out of a woman's anus. Good job. So that's the first one.
Top that, Beef.
There was the there was the inverse Stevie Nicks. I'm gonna go with a movie of an older vintage that is definitely a trading movie. It's one of my favorite movies overall, not just because it fits the demo here, but I'm gonna go with the movie Wall Street.
Ah,
Michael
yes.
Douglas, Charlie Sheen, fucking terrific movie. Just Martin Sheen too. Yeah, his real dad plays his dad in the movie. Just an all-time great movie. I still go back and watch it. I mean, it's one of the 80s movies that to me holds up, and especially as financial markets and stuff become more popular in the news over the time that we've been adults, the movie still holds up for me. So Wall Street's my choice.
Didn't need a sequel.
Did not need the sequel. It was not the best.
But yeah, I love that movie. I love Wall Street, and I love the music in Wall Street. It's very 80s. Like it's just like it's super 80s. Like I mean, like that is like. It's almost like a period piece, but it was made during that period.
Exactly.
I will go with a movie that has trading in the title.
Yes.
I'm going Trading Places.
I wrote that
Great
down
movie.
already, and I almost sent it just in case, but I was like, he's gonna yell at me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Trading Places, great movie. Obviously, Eddie Murphy, Dan.
Very good
Aykroyd.
movie.
Yeah, terrific movie.
What
Yeah,
do you like about it, Chirizi?
Oh man, so that movie is the first holiday movie I watch every year because it's like it kind of spans the entire holiday season. But I mean, Eddie Murphy's incredible. He's just incredible in that movie, and Aykroyd's great too. And like,
Face Off.
I just love the answer was Face Off. Great film.
No thanks.
You're definitely trading something. Yep.
Like just the transformation of the characters, going like the
swap. Yeah.
The science experiment actually works, right? Only it's a horrible science experiment.
Right. That's the worst thing ever.
So fuck those guys, But I love it, and it's just a hilarious movie, but it's also like just a like really interesting thought experiment of like how people think about each other, And so I love that movie. I watch it. I probably watch it 2 to 3 times a year.
And as a young kid, being able to see Jamie Lee Curtis's titties, also a plus. I'm not saying I'm just saying, but it's when we're kids, it's her and it's Apollonia and Purple Rain. Those life-changing experiences seeing both of them movies for those brief nudity.
I'll tell you, I'm not sad about that scene.
You're not anti.
All right, so the
Okay,
poll will be
great.
up. Did you put that up, My Sock Summer?
I did. It's already up.
Awesome.
All right, so get out there and
Fucking
vote on
quick as
that.
fuck, dude.
Vote for Trading Places. It's obviously the best of the bunch there.
How dare you?
And now I got another question for you, fellas.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Ooh-wee.
Beef, what are you drinking, man?
Man, I'm kicking it with the sponsor because we still have a bunch of delicious Goose Island beer. I'm drinking the Sox Ale, and I'm harvesting it out of my little fridge right here. Mrs. Beef got me. So the fridge is stocked right now. I'm trying to have a 7-pack during the show. I had 6 in there, and then I had 1 loose. So trying to go with that. Just enjoying the hell out of this golden ale.
That's a thing of beauty right there. I had a nice amount of those last night, Beef. It was pretty
beautiful, my friend.
The lines were nice and short at the Goose stand right above
they
us.
were ice cold last night. They were ice cold, man. They tasted so good,
They were. I was feeling those. It was a delicious treat. My Sock Summer, what are you drinking, man?
I am drinking the 312 Shandy, also from
nice.
Goose Island. As Loaf mentioned, we had a plethora of beers dropped upon us by the good gods over at Goose Island. So I took that on vacation with me too, and took 2 18ers of the Shandy. Came home with 6. and the 312, the regular 312, came home with 2 regular 18 packs. So yeah, people were definitely into the beer that I brought. So yellow can, all day drinking beers, those are what you want. You don't want like these heavy hitters all the time. So if you're going to be on a boat, you don't need no 7%er. You don't need no Next Coast. You need the 312ers. So that's what we've been doing. What are you drinking, Chorizo?
I am drinking right now. I'm having a Mosaic Hero.
Ooh,
I'm having a few heroes. I didn't get the beer from the shipment. You guys kept that for yourselves, obviously. So I'm just stuck over here.
Couldn't have put some in your car the 18 times you were at your brother's house. No,
impossible.
You want to get some,
Impossible stuff. No, but I had some heroes in the fridge, so I'm finishing those off, and then we'll see what's next. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a nice little Thursday of drinking with you, fellas.
Yeah, I gotta give Tracy credit.
Little Friday.
Whenever we're all drinking beer, my Sox Summer and I always drinking kind of low ABV, kind of like, all right, we're just chilling, rubber. Teresa's nailing it with the 6 and 7% all the time.
Like,
I gotta get up early. I gotta get hammered fast.
Just showing us how soft we are that we're not drinking a little more.
If you're gonna do something, all right.
Do it drunk.
Speaking of, if you're gonna go to work drunk. Speaking of going to work drunk, how about an ad read my Sox Summer?
Here we go. Pop quiz. Name that sponsor time. Well, you're going to have a really easy time naming it because there it is. Big supporters of all things White Sox. They sell cars and they're not jag-offs. What's your guess? That's right. Motherfucking Mazda of Orland Park. Them guys down there off 159th. They have tons of new and certified used cars available to choose from. You know that car you see in the concourse by Sox Park? Yep, that 2021 Mazda CX-3 SP was donated by Mazda of Orland Park to the White Sox charities. Like us 108ers, they like watching the Sox, donating money to good causes, and tipping back a few brews. Does that sound like a guy you want to buy a car from? Of course it fucking does. So give them a follow over at Zoom Nation and check out their worldwide webpage, MazdaofOrlandPark.com. They are a Carfax top-rated dealer and take advantage of that $500 discount for Sox fans. Fuck off, Cubs fans. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Nation. 8910 100 West 159th Street, Orland Park. 708-444-3200. Zoom.
Oh, so beautiful ad read.
There was just this little touch of distortion when you yelled zoom. I'm gonna go back and clip it tonight when I'm going through the audio, because it just sounded great. Like, it was perfect.
Zoom.
You almost actually zoomed. Like, it was awesome. I was very impressed. I don't know how you did it. You'll never be able to repeat it, but we got it recorded. So that's
312 Shandy, bro. The 312 Shandy. It's got me going.
How you rev up the voice?
It revs me up. The lemon loosens my vocal cords to zoom.
Oh.
However, do not use it to loosen your driving cords before you get in the back of a Mazda or into the front of a Mazda.
That's at you, Rick Tellender.
No drinking. Oh my God, that was hilarious. That's hilarious. How are you going to call somebody out like that and then get a DUI not 4 months later? What a dick. And it's not his first time.
It's not his first time drinking. No, he's 72.
All right. First time drinking and driving.
Let's change that subject really quickly to some baseball talk. Yes. Oh man, guys, it was an exciting last week. Trade deadline, shit went down. It was extremely exciting stuff happened, but we're gonna start with maybe the least exciting of the trades. And so I want to get your guys' thoughts on each of the trades, and we'll start with Ryan Tepera for one Bailey Horn. Now, I'm going to start with what they gave away here, which is Bailey Horn, right? And so Bailey Horn's a guy, if you go on Fangraphs, see, I don't know a lot about prospects. I don't think we follow these prospects very closely, but, there's tons of publications out here going to help us out, right? Like Future Sox is going to help us out, and you go to Fangraphs, you could see a lot of stuff about these guys. And one of the things Fangraphs does is they give a future value to these guys. And the future value is kind of on a scale. I think it's 20 to 80. And you can see what this guy projects out to be, right? And so Bailey Horn is a 35 plus. So this is just kind of like basically a quadruple A guy when it comes to pitchers, right? He's not quite a back end of the rotation guy. He's maybe a reliever. He's probably going to come back up and down or something like that. That's basically what you're looking at. And he's in high A right now. He's a 5th round pick. He's 23 years old already. So it's not like this is a guy just fresh out of high school.
Right.
And when you can move a guy like that and make your team better, I think you do it. I think you always do it. And Ryan Tepera makes that bullpen better. He's not a huge upgrade, right? Like he's not like I don't think any of us saw that move and thought this is all they needed to do. And we talked about that when it happened. We were like, okay, this is nice. This improves the team. Let's see what else they do. I think that was pretty much everyone's attitude. Except for people that were like, they're not going to do shit else. Fuck them.
Which was me, by the way.
We didn't jump into that. Just Beef did. But so I think that's kind of where you got to land on this one, right? Like Tepera helps. He doesn't fix everything. He helps, and you didn't give up much. Like you don't expect to see Bailey Horn starting against you in the next couple of years, or at least not giving good starts against you. So I don't know, Beef. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it sort of checked the box, and hey, we need a reliever. Just get a reliever guy who is, kind of better than what we think is better than like the middle of our relieving core. And this guy kind of pushes some of the group down. It's like, okay, that checks the box. That does that sort of a functional move. Bailey Horn, you're right. 5th round pick out of Auburn in that bastardized version of the MLB draft, which is in 2020. He's only thrown 38 innings. He's got a 5, almost a 6 ERA. It hasn't been that great, but that's a very small sample. But apparently, that all the data nerds love a Bailey Horn because he's one of these guys with the pitch data, the spin rate shit, and all the turbo booster macho thing that goes on, and so they think there's like the tools there to create him into something. But like you're saying, Treasy, he's 23 already. I mean, it's and he hasn't. He's been an A-ball. Like he's been in high A and low A this year so far. So yeah, I mean it's kind of a long putt. That's like maybe they harvest something out of it, but I don't feel bad about the potential gestation period of a Bailey Horn making it to the majors. Choosing the urgency of getting Ryan Tepera right now. I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion.
Agreed. My Suck Summer. Any thoughts?
Have they checked the Horn Dogs rotations after the sticky stuff ban? Like, did that follow through in the minors? Because it seems like maybe that's something that maybe won't come to fruition. Who knows? Anyway,
it's possible. Do you know who Ryan Tepera is?
I do now,
so
because of that. But before, no, I did not know who he was. I did not know who Bailey Horn was. Bailey Horn sounds like a good porn star girl's name. So like probably like one of those down home farmers' daughters type girl. They're like, oh, hey, is Bailey Horn's in this? Oh, great, let's watch that. She's got a nice, she's got a nice caboose. So, but I know
I think it sounds like an instrument that would be in a jazz band. Like, do you know anyone who plays the Bailey Horn?
That's
we
true.
can really use someone on Bailey Horn in this band.
I wouldn't know about a jazz band, but like a classical winds orchestra or something. Yes,
yeah,
which is very close to adult film. So I get it. It's all woodwinds. You play with your mouth.
It's tough to find a good Bailey Horn player in in music or in porn. It's unbelievable. And maybe that's why the Cubs were so excited to find this.
They needed one.
Pass up. Yeah, I agree, Treasy. That's probably why they couldn't pass up.
Now that the preacher Zobrist is off that team, bringing all the bads. So no, I didn't know, but like I was looking them up, because I go to Baseball Reference and I look these guys up, and I know why you probably like Ryan Tepera. Is it Tepera? It's Tepera, right?
It's close enough. Who cares?
All right, so whatever. He looks like a really low-rent James Shields, Treasy. Like him and James Shields have a very same vibe. Like this guy Ryan, a little less surfer dude, but like yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, no, they definitely like. There's a they look a little bit alike. So I'm gonna get you one of his jerseys later when he gets traded or DFA.
I can't say that that's the reason, just because I think all you people look the same. You know, so like it's like
I'm glad you said it.
don't say it the other way. It's not going to work. All right.
I know better.
So the next one is a little bit of a more interesting one. I think we could talk about this a little more, and that's Cesar Hernandez for Connor Pilkington. I like the name Connor Pilkington, by the way. I don't know if that's gonna resonate with MSS, but B-Flow, you wrote a blog about this. So why don't you
write a blog about this? So everyone can drink right now, and I'll jump into it a little bit. I was actually thrilled with the Cesar Hernandez acquisition. And the reason being is I sort of have always liked him. And he's been in the marketplace recently, and I always thought, man, the White Sox should just take a stab at him. I know you got Nicky Madrigal coming up, but you can never have too many good players. And so I had kind of like watched the second base market, and we were in need. And Jim Margulis actually brought this up on Sox Machine podcast. He's like, they should try and trade in division and get Cesar Hernandez. And I didn't really think it was likely that they would, because for some goofy reason, division teams don't want to trade with each other. I don't really get why. I mean, what's the big fucking deal? Especially these contracts don't last 10 years or something. The person's going to roll off or whatever, you know, so why not go get them? So when I started looking at the deal, I was like, okay, he's an on-base guy or whatever. But this year, he shifted a little bit. He hasn't been as much a walk and contact machine. He's been hitting for more power. And it looks like it's a conscious effort, too. It looks like he was looking to try to hit for more power, which we'll take it because this White Sox team has been starved for home run power. And one thing, when I was putting this blog together, I was thinking to myself, just in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't think I think he's similar to Adam Frazier, even though Adam Frazier's been hitting like Ty fucking Cobb this year, and Eduardo Escobar, the other second baseman that were on the market. And when I looked them up and I ran their numbers for from 2019 through kind of right before the trade deadline, I mean, a lot of their numbers are identical. The walk rates are very similar. You know, Adam Frazier has like a slightly lower K rate, but the total, the WRC pluses are really tight and their WAR values were really tight. So I thought, okay, the White Sox kind of got the cheapest version of this and an effective one for what they need. Someone who can hit at the top of the order, who can draw walks. I thought this is a really nice fit for the White Sox. And at the time, I didn't think that the option was in play because I thought, well, we got Nicky Madrigal here. But it's good to have optionality anyway. Like Hahn always likes to have it where he has that little bit extra coverage for himself, which I don't mind that as long as it doesn't sacrifice getting the player, which it might have in the Jock Peterson situation. But fuck Jock Peterson, he sucks. But anyway, as long as it doesn't damage your ability to acquire players, there's nothing wrong with having a little extra at the end. When looking at Connor Pilkington, he was a third-round pick in 2018 on Mississippi State. He was actually damn good this year so far. He pitched in Birmingham. He threw 62 innings. He had basically a 3.5 ERA and a sub-1 WHIP. So he was really pitching well. Was probably on track to be a guy who would be kind of in AAA next year, a guy who could be like a fringy guy on the roster. And he's also the weird type of guy that's like Cleveland loves these guys, where it's like, people would look at him and say, oh, that's the seventh starter, and Cleveland will do something with them and make them a viable 3 or 4 starter. And so that's why this trade, even though I really like Cesar and like getting this, I think they gave up kind of fair value here with Connor Pilkington.
I don't disagree with the value piece of this, but what I would like to bring up, I believe Pilkington was Rule 5 eligible this offseason.
Yeah, this offseason.
And the question is, was he going to show enough that the Sox would protect him, put him on the 40? Right. Or is that something where you would have let him out there anyways, and the Guardians would have probably picked him up, right? Like they would have had a chance to do that anyways in the offseason, because you probably like this 40-man is pretty full. And it looks like, with the way that they're going to take options on some of these guys, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of room on it to like hide anybody. Right. And so I don't know. I think that when you get these guys that are doing well and they're Rule 5 eligible and you're on the fence of keeping them, trading them is a very good option. And I think we've seen that done to us. And like the results weren't great for the Sox. So, I mean, I hope that happens to the Indians or future Guardians.
I think the issue, though, I agree with you in general. I think that's generally a good principle. If you're kind of coming up on a 40-man crunch, but I don't think the Sox are from a starting pitching standpoint. So Carlos Rodon's going to be a free agent. So I don't know if they re-sign him or not, right? And you're going to kind of bump up Michael Kopeck. But then who are your number 6th and 7th and 8th starters on this team come next year?
Well, that's the question.
I think they need to make room for some more starting pitchers on their 40-man for sure.
That's the question. Are you going to, is it Pilkington, or are you going to go out and get guys? Because if it's Pilkington, then okay, maybe he's a guy you keep. But like if you're going to go out and get guys, that pushes him right off anyways. Right. And so I think
when you say get guys, though, it's tough because it's hard to get guys that are like, oh, they have options and we could just send them down to AAA, because you kind of have your major league rotations kind of set next year, assuming Kopeck is taking the Rodon spot, right? You kind of have your 5. So then it's like, who are the minor league arms coming up? You have Jonathan Stever, who was whatever, and you have Jimmy Lambert, who pitched okay the other day when he came up for a start. So those are probably your 6 and 7 right there. You don't have a lot of starting pitching depth, in my opinion.
Is Raylo still ARB eligible? And he'll be out of options, I think.
He'll be out of options, though. So that's the problem. He's worse than just needing 40-man protection. He's probably like not going to be here, basically. Or he's going to be in the bullpen. He's going to be one of your bullpen arms, potentially.
Yeah. So I don't know. It seems that they did the math and he was not in the 40.
Goodbye. We need the second baseman.
It made that decision very easy. And I like Cesar. Like I like Cesar in general. Like I think the thing I like about him is because even before we knew that he was going to be replacing Madrigal for more than a year, he was replacing Madrigal at least for this year, and it's not there right now, right? He hasn't been at this level, but Cesar's like 348, 350 area OBP guy throughout his career.
Right.
And so if you're gonna backfill Nicky's spot, you need that. And that's a great place to put that. And he's really good in the field. Right? Like, so I think it's a really good move. I think that's a good guy to put in that position. He's what you need in the 2 spot. I'm just waiting for it to all click.
I was gonna say, the other thing to look at with regards to making that acquisition right there is it was less about how much better he is than Lurie, and more about how much better, which is a lot, than he is than Danny Mendick. So push Danny Mendick off the roster. So you just moved Lurie into that reserve role where he's much better suited for. And so just improve the 26-man overall. And I think when you get to the trade deadline and your team who's very likely to be in the playoffs, I think the Sox playoff odds are like 99.6%. That's what you want to do. You want to start insulating that roster so you have a good playoff roster going in, and you end up in a situation where you're more resilient against anything that could possibly happen.
MSS, what do you think of that name?
Okay.
Pilkington.
Here's the deal. We needed a second baseman, so you had to have Cesar come in. That's great. It's fucking wonderful. And like Loeb said, he'd be a good backfill with Nicky Sticks. Here we go. We got this all going on. Now, I don't like weird spellings for people's names, right? If your name's Connor, it's a C. Okay? C, no case. Although I like that he's a pitcher and it begins with a K, because then you can have like a lot of Ks, but then, I don't know, you might get canceled. Throw up too many Ks, you're done. So anyway, I think K for Connor is going to play really well in Brohio. So, because it sounds like a bro name. Like, nah, it's Connor with a K, bro. Like, pass me one of them Busch Lights. So, it's going to it's going to play really well with the Guardians over there in Brohio. So, yeah.
I love it. I 100%.
Love it. That's my analysis.
I love the breakdown. And you know what? I agree on the Connor. I don't like the way it's spelled. No. It's only there to mess us up when we're writing about it.
Yeah,
people are tweeting on it, and people are like, "Hey, it's actually Connor with a K," and it's like, who gives a fuck, man? You know who I'm talking about.
He's like, your parents are fucking stupid.
All right,
who gives a shit? He's gone.
Now the big one.
Yes,
the big boy, Craig Kimbrel for Nick Madrigal and Cody Hoare. Oh. My Sox summer. I'm going to kick to you first because you've been out on the Twitter streets trying to convince people of things just like this that need to happen. So I'm going to let you go first. You tell us how you feel about this one.
So this like the last trade was the foreplay. This is the main event, right? This is
he finished.
This is what gets you going, right? Because this, in my mind, when I see this trade go down, I hear this trade go down, I'm like, all right, the Sox are seeing what I'm seeing, what Lowe's seeing, what Chorizo's seeing. This is the fucking time to win these fucking ball games. And what do we need? We need a fucking strong setup guy, because our major league big dollar closer sometimes likes to give up some bangers, so like we need some insurance before we get to that guy to fucking let like just in case. This tells me also you're trading away a guy that is like irrationally loved by so many people to say, okay, we're going to get something back valuable. We're going to give away something valuable. And I'm not talking about Cody Hua, who fucking stumped Beef Loaf. He was almost a creator of the Beef Loaf 2021 movement.
Yeah, he was
along with these guys. He's like, hey, let me get some followers. Then I'm going to dump this motherfucker, put him back in his hot tub and say, you're not going to be one of the fancy videos in July. Okay? Fuck you. Now, here's another thing, though. You got to look at how people have treated Nick Madrigal since he got traded. Okay, the guy's hurt, not going to help us. That's fine, whatever. Who cares? I'm glad Hahn did some magic, shaking up and said, "Listen, I know he's bummed, but he'll be fine, right?" Like it's like if you have like a car that won't start right away. You're like, "No, seriously, it's okay. This was just the one time." Right. So you're going to say, nah, Nick, yeah, I know he's been hurt 7 times, but like he's going to bounce back. He does really good. So Rick Hahn, congratulations for trading a guy that's like hurt a lot. But the one part that I didn't hear a lot before he got traded was how he has such a bad attitude. Like that just started seeping out of the underground. I was listening to all exclusively Score all the way to Wisconsin until it fuzzed out on me. And that was a repeating thing in the Bernstein and Rahimi show. And then Lawrence Holmes came in for a little bit and they were talking some shit. And they kept saying, yeah, the front office didn't really like Nick Madrigal's attitude and blah, blah, blah. And he's a me first kind of guy, blah, blah, bblah. And I was like, I never heard this shit in my life. All I heard was like he's going to get hits. He's the next second coming of Tony Gwynn, minus the, the mouth cancer shit. And I just didn't know what was, I didn't know what was going to happen. So there was a lot of shit talked. As soon as you're gone, like people break out all the big guns. Like, he was a bad person. So anyway, I'm happy. I'm happy that the fucking Sox did this, mostly because it shows me as a fan that they're as fucking serious about winning as I'm fucking serious about them winning. And because motherfucking playoffs, motherfuckers, this is going to be great. I hope I didn't disappoint in that, because I know you wanted a lot out of me there, so I wanted to make sure that I gave you a lot.
That was passionate, highly sexual. I enjoyed every second of it.
I love what you gave me. I'm feeling it.
Thank you.
I'll be feeling it in the morning.
Why don't you go next on Madrigal? You go second.
Well, so I don't have a lot to say about Madrigal. I think we knew what he was, and I think that I think that's a guy who's going to go up to the north side, and they're going to love him there. That's the kind of guy. And I don't think that I've ever been big on him as a player, but I also thought he would be valuable, right? I like the on base percentage. I like how much he got on, but I'm not going to cry over it when we're talking about trying to go to the playoffs this year and win in the playoffs. And the biggest thing about this trade to me was not so much just us acquiring Kimbrel. It was another team not acquiring Kimbrel. This would have been devastating if the Astros would have gotten Kimbrel. Like the Kimbrel Presley end of the bullpen, I would have been devastated. I would have been like, this is not a team that I feel like we can beat in the first round, because the biggest weakness on that team is the bullpen, and they put some things in to improve that, but they didn't make the upgrades that we made on our bullpen. And I think that to me is a huge key to this trade. We kept everyone else from really improving their bullpen while improving our bullpen. Right? It's like when you're watching a football game and your team is on like the 2-yard line and they throw an interception that goes for a touchdown. The point swing there is huge, right? Like you were just about to score 7 points and now it's 7 points in the other direction. And so that's how I felt with this trade. And that's why I thought it was so important. So like the fact also, I like that you got him next year. Like if you want him next year, if he keeps pitching like he's been pitching, you got him for next year too. I mean, that's the real super bullpen. When you're talking super bullpen this year, this is like two guys that are very proven in their roles. So I love it. I can't stop thinking about what a good trade it was, and I'm happy about it. Beef, what do you think?
Absolutely, Treasy. I mean, before, as we're leading up to, I think it was the night before, I written an article about Cesar, and then I cut something from Fangraphs, and I looked at relievers real simplistically. Just took K rate minus walk rate. Just Ks minus walks. That's sort of like easy, like you're playing Swift out in the schoolyard, right? Just the strikeouts and the walks. Just looking at that shit, and I cut the board, and I was like, okay. I want one of these guys on this list that's available here. And I was kind of shooting a little further down the board for Raisel Iglesias. The fact that the White Sox got Kimbrel from that board that I cut, number one in K rate to walk rate out of qualified relievers is Liam Hendricks. Number two, Craig Kimbrel. That means the White Sox got the two biggest, scariest strikeout monsters at the back of their bullpen. They really fucking went for it. And I couldn't believe it. They got the two biggest swinging dicks back there and for the playoff charge. I think inevitably, if you try to measure a trade like this via F4 or some shit like that, the Cubs will win it. But who gives a fuck? We're trying to hang a banner. And I'm glad Sox fans seem to understand that on Twitter and everything. I have not seen a lot of complaints about, how could you give up these guys, whatever. Everyone is singly focused on, let's win this fucking World Series here. I'm a little sad to lose Cody Heuer.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Only because of the bit. The bit is gone, man. I cannot post the pictures of Joey Pants anymore from Sopranos and get the attention I used to get. I got to come up with a new bit. I know White Sox Sal says I peaked. Fuck you, Sal. That's not the case. But I hate to lose a good bit if I can't lose one. And finally, I've got to applaud Rick Hahn. Okay, I've been on this show for years now talking about he's got to stop playing it so conservatively. He's got to play it like a poker player trying to actually win the tournament, not just trying to get to the final table. This is a move to win the whole tournament. This is, I'm trying to win this goddamn tournament. And the nice thing about it, in total, Hahn did a great job at this trade deadline from two perspectives. One, he put the right pieces in here that we're going to need to try to win this World Series. And two, he saved enough on the side, even a 30th ranked farm system, to fire some fucking bullets in 2022 when we need them. And so I think he kind of played the trade deadline absolutely perfectly. I must throw bouquets at the man. I will bow. I'm not a Hahn bot, but I really did enjoy this trade deadline for Rick Hahn.
I mean, it's not being a Hahn bot to congratulate somebody when they did something good.
Totally agree.
You can't say, oh, well, no, you're just playing into it. Bullshit. Like he did a good job. I mean, I swear I still can't get over the fact that he traded a guy that's on the IL and is not going to play. He has like no guaranteed future. It's just like they're like, yeah, fuck it. We'll bring him over. We'll take it. Yeah.
It's not like he might. Not like he might lose a limb. Like he has somewhat of a
You don't
future.
know, Treasy. He could be walking across. You know what? He could be going to get some fucking sushi over at Walgreens or something to get smashed done by a fucking Subaru. And a little man like that cannot take a hit from a Subaru. I can take a hit from a Subaru. He could not. So I'm just saying.
The way he was saying that made me think
little Nicky Man's flying across the fucking.
So, no, he's not going to make it. Oh no, he's just sleeping.
The pillow.
Yeah, exactly. Wake me up.
So before we move on to the next segment, I'm just going to end this by telling everybody who's listening that at 10:54, the night before Cody Heuer got traded, I unfollowed him on Twitter. That's the power I'm yielding.
Yes.
Wielding and yielding. In my Twitter, you guys got to watch out. Be nice. You get unfollowed. It's to the fucking north side with you. All right.
Cesar Hernandez is up right now. Base is empty.
Let's see what he can do. Let's see what he can do. But speaking of which, I'm going to quote probably one of the loveliest metal songs of our time and say, guys, what the fuck is going on?
Yes.
Sox are 9-10 since the All-Star break, and they are currently losing.
Yeah,
They're
losing
currently
tonight,
losing.
too.
Yeah, maybe they'll win. Maybe by the time this is over, they'll have won. It doesn't look that way right now.
No, it's
So
not.
let's break this down. And first up, we're going to ask around the horn here, whose performance in this time is the most worrisome to you? Beef, you go first.
Man, I got to go with a guy, especially because the offense is struggling, and a guy that we really depend on as an offensive weapon, especially because this is a team that struggled to hit right-handed pitching, and he's one of the few left-handed bats, dependable, star potential left-handed bats in this lineup, and that's Yoan Moncada.
Yep.
And even Yoan Moncada, he's struggled since the All-Star break. Let me pull up his numbers here really quick. He's got a 205 batting average coming into tonight, not including tonight. 205 batting average, 247 on base, and 425 slug. Now, some of that slug is being propped up by the fact that he hit that fucking home run where the guys had it in their mitt and it fucking bounced over the fence. So, like,
that
that was kind of a bullshit situation, for
that
the
was so dope.
So he's really been struggling at the plate. And come September, October, we're going to need him. And I'm just a little worried because he does tend to go through prolonged slumps. And even during this slump, I mean, he's striking out a monstrous amount of the time. He's striking out almost 33% of the time.
A shitload.
Which is a lot. I mean, that reminds you of 2018 Moncada, right? How much he would strike out back then. And so I'm a little worried about him because he's really an important cog in this lineup. I know we're going to get Luis Robert back, and I know Eloy is going to get into the mix, and we're eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get Yasmani Grandal back. But one of the most important bats in this lineup is Yoan Moncada. We're going to need him.
Yeah. I like the call. I think it's a good call. My Sox Summer, was that who you had?
100%.
So I got a
he just
guy.
needed like he strikes out so much. Like, I didn't go through and look at every box score that we lost, but in all the ones that I looked at, he was 0 for. Like, he isn't doing anything, and it's just like, come on, dude. And then the one thing that Saturday night in Milwaukee, not even touching the plate when he's crossing home while he's looking down. Like, I hesitate to say that he's just not in it, and he's just lost out there, because I don't know that he actually is, because he's been doing okay defensively, and he's still doing all right. But he
looks good defensively.
It's just right now we need him to fucking hit some goddamn balls, and he's just not. So
I mean, great call. I saw some great call about the mental error in Milwaukee with not touching home plate. It's like, okay, we're all allowed a mental gaffe here or there, but like, coupled with the lack of performance at the plate, it does make you wonder a little bit. You don't know, but you're like, what's going on here? Is this guy okay?
Yeah.
Is everything okay with him?
Does he miss Yerman Mercedes, his YM initial brother? I don't know.
Maybe.
Possibly.
It's quite possible.
They both like bling. Who knows? I don't know.
How about you, Treasy? Who do you have? Who's worrying you right now?
So I got someone who's a little different than what you guys, and I think this is someone that doesn't worry a lot of people, but absolutely should, and that's Dallas Kykel.
Oh,
it's so. I mean, he's actually at the parts of the game that I've seen tonight. He looked okay. Like that today was not as concerning. The previous 2 starts, he's given up 6 home runs, and what's worse in my mind is and I think I'm not looking at the stats right now, so I'm going off memory, but I believe that since the All-Star break, he's only thrown 1 double play. He may have thrown 1 tonight, I don't know, but I believe he only threw 1 double play, and the last 2 starts, none. And so you can say oh, well, that's the fielding, whatever, but the fielding's been pretty good, and he's got to throw ground balls. That's his game.
Right.
He's not getting strikeouts. If people are putting a ball in the air against Dallas Kykel, it's bad. And that it's bad because he's the veteran, right? He's the guy that's supposed to be down the stretch as if Rodon slips up a little bit, if Cease is erratic, if Giolito has a slump, him and Lynn are the 2 that need to kind of hold it steady, right? And be the rocks in that rotation, right? I don't need this guy giving up a shitload of home runs. That's troubling. And that's something that where you're going into the playoffs, and I get it. Some of these, Lance Lynn has a rubber arm. and you can count on him. The other guys don't.
Right.
We don't have a group of rubber arms,
No.
right? Like, and you have a great back end of the bullpen now. Beautiful. I can't have guys going 4 or 5 innings in the playoffs. I just can't have it. Just that's going to be a disaster. And that's where you're going to see Kykel, right? He's going to be game 3, game 4, something like that, right? Depending on how these things shake out. And like, you can't depend on a guy who's a ground ball pitcher who's throwing a bunch of home runs. It just doesn't work. So that's what I'm worried about. He looked better tonight against a horrible team, but KC was one of the teams that lit him up.
Right.
And that's the other thing. This was Cleveland and Kansas City. I should mention that. That's important. This isn't like it was like, oh, he caught Houston and New York, and what are you gonna do? No, this was Cleveland and Kansas City.
Yeah,
these are trash teams.
Teresa, this is a great point and a great point in general. Like, probably something we should drill down on is like cut out all these fucking teams that can't hit and look at how our starting pitchers do against the ones that can, because those are in general the ones you're going to face in the playoffs. I mean, the Rays will strike out a bunch for you, but other than that, there's pretty much good offensive teams that are going to be in the playoffs with you. I mean, the Rays aren't a bad offensive team, but you're going to get Boston, you're going to get Houston, you're probably going to get Oakland. Like, you're going to get some teams that could hit. And so, it'll be interesting to see. And you're right about that. I mean, there's still 2 months to go here. I mean, as much as we feel like the playoffs are locked and everything, it'd be nice not to be the number 3 seed in the playoffs. It would be nice to be a 2 or 1 and get that extra home playoff game. Like,
absolutely,
let's get our shit together.
Absolutely, with how well they've played at home,
100%.
Absolutely, right.
Yep.
So that's what's worrying me. Let's get to people, because there's been a lot of bad here. But who's sucked during this time, but you're confident in the bounce back? You're feeling the bounce back. And I'll start with you, my Sox Summer.
I have to go with my guy, my garbage time hero, my clutch chorizo, my Jose Abreu. I just feel like he needs he will turn it around at some point. He's not batting very well. I don't know all the advanced metrics. I'm sure Loaf will tell me what they are, but like, he's just not coming through when we need him to come through. He's still hitting the bangers. He's still got 19 homers, but like, I just feel like he's not being MVP Jose Abreu yet. And I would need him to like show the fuck back up, especially if Yohan Moncada is going to play like dog shit. So I need one of those two guys to fucking hit a dinger every other day. I mean, my God, is that too much to ask for? No, it's not. So get the fuck out there and start hitting some goddamn home runs.
Yeah, my
he hit one 2 nights in a row now, right?
Yeah, 2 nights in a row. So
it's coming. Okay, it's coming. You're on this.
You are correct about his performance so far. It's being carried basically by a handful of homers. Otherwise, the average is low. Then he's used to, and the walks and everything are all kind of down since the All-Star break. So
not a lot of base hits. No,
not a lot of just like, oh, there's a Jose Abreu line drive that you're expecting. Not a lot of that since the All-Star break at all.
No, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
So I think he'll come back though. I like him.
Beef, who you got, man?
I mean, the guy that I'm at least marginally worried about, and he hasn't been good his last 2 outings, and he's kind of like hadn't pitched in a while, is Michael Kopeck.
Oh.
If Michael Kopeck is not right going into the playoffs, that's a big issue for this White Sox team, right? Because there's, like we talked about, you've got the 2 guys at the back, and you got the good starting pitching, but the good starting pitching is going to get shortened up in the playoff series, right? And the reason they'll get shortened up is because you're going to play teams that are going to force these guys to throw more pitches. I mean, you even see Dylan Cease in an outing where he's good. He's racking up pitches, and it's like the guy's not going to be able to get 6 innings out of him and that's against the bad teams, where he's racking up 115 pitches or whatever the fuck. When you get to the playoffs, you're really going to need Michael Kopeck. And Michael Kopeck had that really bad outing the other night against Cleveland at home. And then he gave up a run, I think it was last night against Kansas City. He just hasn't really been sharp since the All-Star break. And I understand the guy has been injured, and I don't know if they're playing with the role or not. I think there was some rumors that he was going to start that game on Sunday against Cleveland, but then he didn't end up starting it. And so I kind of don't know what's going on there. I don't know if some of it is mental, or maybe he was just tipping pitches in the one game where he got lit up against Cleveland. But I am nervous about him, although I think he can rebound.
You seem really confident that he'll bounce back. So I get what you're just exuding confidence. It's amazing.
That's funny. He sucks. He really sucks. But
he's been bad lately. And He's been our second best bullpen arm, but he's been kind of stinky in the last couple weeks here. You know, a little nervous, but I think he'll probably be fine. We need him, is what I'm saying. He's vital to this whole thing.
So I think there's a couple bad performances in there, but overall, I think he's been pretty solid. So I'm with you. I'm not liking what I've seen just recently, but I'm confident in that. I'm confident in that. So
who's your guy? Whoa.
The guy I thought for sure I'd have to get a backup going here my Sox summer because I thought you'd be all over this. But Timmy's bat has been cold.
Yeah,
his OBP is dropping. But here's why I think that he'll bounce back. His fielding has been very good, right? Yes. And the thing that I worry about with Timmy when I see him not hitting well or having some kind of problems at the plate is that he might be injured, right? He might be trying to play through an injury. But when he tries to play through an injury, he throws the ball all over the fucking place. You know, there's bad fielding. You know, he's
out there.
Right. But he's been so good in the field. Like he's had very few mistakes this year. Yeah. And I feel like I think he's healthy. I think he's 100% healthy. And I think that like he's just had like kind of a down streak of getting on base. And I think it's going to turn around with just a massive hit streak. Just like I'm talking like 20 game hit streak.
He'll get on fire again. Yep.
Like I feel that coming, and if that happens, and if Cesar heats up behind him, that'll spark the whole lineup, man. Yep. I think that then you'll start to see shit go down. You'll start to see them just really start tearing teams up. It all starts with him, and I think that I'm confident that he's going to be back, and you're going to see that average shoot up, and then of course the on base percentage goes right with that. So I'm looking for that. I think I'm pretty confident it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean he was a killer last year in the playoff series. He absolutely dominated that series against Oakland. So yeah, I agree with you. He's been struggling a bit. And you're right. The on base percentage is low. The batting average is low right now. His offensive performance also been buoyed by some home runs because he's been hitting for power again, which is nice. But yeah, I agree with that. I think he bounces back, and they sure as fuck need that right now, man. This offense is struggling.
So.
The Sox, it's 3-2. I don't know how the Sox scored though. That's what
it was an Eloy double, I believe. So
okay, all right. But then now they just gave up a single, so 1 out, top of the ninth. Sox still down 3-2. Garrett Crotchet is in. That Crotchet guy is back.
Oh, John Holmes.
So look like John Holmes.
Last on this topic,
a waste up.
Who's been the shining light in this mediocre half month? And I'll start with me because I'm going to take someone that you guys aren't going to take.
Okay.
But this is Rick Giolito's guy that is not his son. That's Dylan Cease.
We're all over this.
Dylan Cease has not been great, right? Like by no means. Like, but he's keeping the team in the game. But here's why I'm excited by what I've seen out of Cease. In the past 4 games, 32 strikeouts. And he's gone against some good teams. Like I think he had like 10 Ks against Houston, right? Which is a team that doesn't strike out. So that kind of strikeout rate, beef to what you were talking about earlier. The bullpen, the back of the bullpen right now is so heavy in strikeouts.
Yep.
It's such a good strikeout area. When you go to the postseason, I assume Cease moves to the bullpen.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it depends
unless he starts. Like he may start.
I don't think he has to start.
Like they may give him a start, but if they move him to the bullpen, or even if they just use him in a bullpen situation, I love it. He could go in there and strike out some guys.
Yeah.
And you need that, man. You need that in a playoff series. So like I'm pretty psyched about what he's done in the past few weeks. I'd like to see some more. I'd like to see less runs associated with all these strikeouts. But it's promising. I'd say that this is and you know me, I'm not a big Cease guy. Right. I've never been like, oh, this guy's going to be fantastic. I'm not. But what I've seen this past month, I'm in. I like that. I will take more of that from my 5th starter.
Yeah, he was really good 2 nights ago, and you're right. He did have the 10 Ks against the Astros. I that is a curious question, though. I think it depends on matchup. If you have a team that hits lefties really well, I think Cease will get a start, and Dallas Keuchel will be off the playoff roster. I think if the inverse occurs, then Cease might be a guy who's pushed to the bullpen. So it's kind of interesting to see how they end up, or who they end up against.
It's wild that we're talking about that.
Very, very good since the All-Star break.
It's wild that we're talking about that with Kykel and Cease.
Yeah.
So he could be your fourth starter though, right? Like you don't put him above Giolito. Like your first three are Lynn, Rodon, and then Giolito, right? You still got to go with Giolito regardless of how he's been pitching recently. Like I think that he still, not recently, last night I guess would be the more.
Yeah, he had a rough start. Yeah,
he hasn't been bad that many games in a row, and this is as bad as he's looked for, last night. Apparently, I did not see the game. I was looking at a fire. So, but I was watching it on my phone. Shining light for me.
Yeah.
Lance Lynn, baby. This guy is just like, he's just never stopped. He's just like, fucking All-Star game, fucking A, right. All right, let's keep going. He's like, this ain't over yet. Let's keep chugging away, fucks. So that he's just out there doing the same thing he was doing before the All-Star break. Now, even while we're going through all this shit, like he's still doing his thing and turning in solid performances, doing his jab like he's supposed to.
His jab.
Speaking of chugging away, man, that's a guy I would like to drink with. Like I don't want to meet a lot of players. Like that's just not my thing. Like I'm just not like I want to meet these guys. I want to watch him play, right? I kind of want to watch him drink. And it doesn't like it's not even like I need to be there hanging out with him. Like I would be fine if I was at a bar and I was like, oh shit, that's Lance Lynn over there. And it's like, holy shit, he just ordered another drink. That's that's enough for me.
He's sitting solo and he has one of those beer towers just full of like Goose Island 312 or IPA. And he is just like just knobbing it off, He's just like, it's great.
I want to hang out with him. He got $38 million new dollar, man. He probably a lot of fun to hang out with.
Look, I want to hang out with him too, right? But like, Beef, if we were at a bar, we saw Lance Lynn over there, much like when we saw Ozzie Guillen, we ain't going over there to bother him.
No, we didn't.
We're going to send some drinks over, and we're going to watch from afar. As in this case, Ozzie was just holding court, had a whole table of people that were all sitting down, and he was standing. Like that's Ozzie in a bar.
Yeah, he was talking.
I'd like to see Lance Lynn in a bar. I assume, and this is just me guessing, that he's a at the bar drinker. I don't feel like he's a table guy.
Oh, okay.
I feel like he wants to sidle up to the bar.
Yeah.
And like you got to be right next to him to get in on some of the talk. Like he's only talking right here. There's two sides, like that's all he's talking to, and he's focused on going across the rail on the tap.
Unless he gets up to place that new cut from Bob Seger, he's like, I gotta go put on some Seger, and he's like, I don't believe in the app on my phone. I still got a flip phone, so I'm gonna go over there and put my 50 cents in. So he'll be there. That's what he's doing, playing some Seger.
I still believe that Lance Lynn, despite his big greasy beard, smells like cinnamon rolls, and I that's the case.
Sandalwood, motherfucker.
I can't wait to find out.
Old Spice.
Beef, who you got?
I got to take my guy, and Alex Rude's going to be upset because I shouldn't talk positively about this gentleman, but Andrew Vaughn has been tearing the goddamn cover off the ball for the All-Star break. And he's really kind of been the only one producing at a high level like that. Sebby Zavala had the one big game. And like we talked about earlier, Abreu and Anderson have done okay, but they're mostly being buoyed by home runs, whereas Vaughn is just knocking the shit out of the ball top to bottom. He's now hitting right-handed pitching very well also. So, like, he's really starting to come into his own. And let's be honest, the way this offense is performing, they're dying for him. They need him, man. So I'm very pleased with Andrew Vaughn's performance.
Yeah, I mean, except for last inning, I think he ended the inning. He had a runner on second and didn't get it done. So, so now fuck him.
Is that Timothy Maher claiming how Ozzie Guillen was a great smelling gentleman?
I bet Ozzie smells awesome.
Yeah, I believe that.
He does smell awesome.
It's like a mix between alcohol and cologne. Like it's like the Wally Money.
The Wally Money, yes.
So
Luke, we have headphones on. No, I will not be able to hear the fireworks from down there with the headphones on, sitting in my basement, smashing Goose Islands. No,
I'll be able to hear the
all.
fireworks, but they'll actually be gunshots. So,
Allegedly.
so this week we made it to the park once, which is unfortunate. We usually make it more. We'll make it more very soon. And hopefully there'll be vendors there to help us out. But from that trip to the park, we had a discussion with our guy, Alex Rude. And we were talking about people being overloved and overhated. And so the question to you guys, and we'll start with overloved. Who is the most overloved player on the Chicago White Sox? My Sox Summer, you started off.
It's funny because we've going through cycles here because there's like worrisome performance, bounce back, shining light. Now you have overloved and the next one overhated. The overloved guy, I feel like, according to most of the people in the fan base, is a Dallas Kykel. I think a lot of people like him and think that he's going to do something and thinks he's a really great pitcher because you can look at his numbers. You look at it, he's 7-4, but his ERA is 4.5, 4.5. I mean, he's giving up a shitload of runs, and he's like 11 game. He's won 7 out of his 20 starts. It's not great, but I think people still think, hey, he's a good pitcher. Look at his numbers. He's fine. Yeah, it's the same guys that are like, hey, we're up in our division by 9 games. Why do we need to get help? I don't understand. Like that's same people. So Dallas Kykel will be my pick.
I like it. Yeah.
I gotta respond to a comment real quick. Dale, he says that Ozzy smells like alcohol in Fahrenheit. If you add weed to that is my senior year smell. That's
if they bottled your senior year, that would be your
Beef, you were there. You
I do remember it. Yes.
You know the scent.
I do remember that shit.
Beef, who do you got for overloved?
Oh man, it's obvious for me, and it's what I was screaming at Alex about last night. Andrew Vaughn's overloved. He's having a good rookie season, especially a good last month or so. But White Sox fans treat him like he's Paul fucking Konerko already. And it's like the guy's been pretty good. He's been a decent hitter so far. I like his future. If I was betting on his future, I'd be very interested in putting down money there. But he's not a superstar yet. He's just not a stud at this point. And the way he gets treated on Twitter, and it's like, oh, this guy, he's the best and all this shit. I mean, like, it's unbelievable to me. It's like, just let the guy have a rookie year and let's see if he's decent,
A lot of I told yous and future Gold Glove left fielder. Fuck,
exactly.
Come on.
All that shit. It's like, give me a break. This guy's a slow guy. He is adjusting well. He's doing a good job for the tools he's got and for the situation he's put in, but let's pump the fucking brakes until he becomes a real star.
Game update, Makata just struck out on a inside fastball, missed it by about 6 inches. So, and it's a very lackadaisical swing by Makata. So, what the fuck, bro? Let's go.
6 inches. Measure it again.
Easily. I just went up to the TV real quick. Yeah. My internet shat out, and I ran over there, and that was back before I even knew it.
Tracy, how about you? Who do you think is most overloved on the 2021 White Sox?
So I was gonna say Gavin Sheets because I'm still convinced that he's the Daniel Palka that we drafted, so everyone loves him more than Daniel Palka. But you know who I'm gonna pick, and it's a guy that's really good. It's actually this guy's very good, but it's Liam Hendriks. And here's why. Here's why it's Liam Hendriks. Say something bad about Liam Hendriks on the internet. You might as well just close your Twitter account. Like just fucking cancel it. Because people are going to destroy you. Yep. And it's like, you can be critical of the closer. Like, the guy, like he's given up more home runs than you want your closer to give up, right? Yeah. But you say that, and people are like, fuck you, asshole. What's wrong with you?
He throws hard. They hit it
greatest
hard.
Closer of all time.
How it happened.
Look, I like Liam Hendriks. I want him to do very well. He's been doing very well for us.
Yeah.
But I should be able to be critical of Liam Hendriks when he does poorly. It goes with all of this. Like if I were critical, like my Sox Summer is being critical of Yoel Moncada, and I'll get to Yoel Moncada in a second.
Yes.
And everyone is fine with that. Fuck that guy, that motherfucker, right? But like Liam
Sox
Hendricks,
lost.
if you were to say the same thing about Hendricks, or like having a bad week or having a bad game or anything,
monster fucking home run and letting the game get tied. Like that's not what you're supposed to do.
You'd get fucking murdered. You'd get murdered.
Yeah.
And
I've seen the. Oh no, he's unlucky with these amount of home runs. Fuck that! Someone hitting a tank off, he was unlucky. Fucking don't let him hit the ball that goddamn hard. Come on now.
So, now we're gonna get to OverHated, and I'm gonna go first.
I love it
because this guy just struck out a ball, according to my Sox Summer, by 42 inches.
Yes.
Yoan Moncada is overhated, right? And I think part of it is that people have extremely high expectations for him. He was traded for Chris Sale, right? Like I get it. I absolutely get that. And like I would love Yoan to be better than he's been. But Yoan's been good. He's been a good player. He's been really good in the field. And he's still a guy with like a 115 plus 115 OPS plus, right? Like even when you're saying that like he's not doing well. But here's the thing. Here's why I think he's overhated. Because you will talk to anybody who doesn't like Yoan Moncada and that they sing the same refrain. Yoan is so lazy. How do you know that?
Right.
But like, what about Yoan makes you? Is his absolutely chiseled body making you think that he's probably a lazy guy?
Yep.
The way people talk about him, he's Miguel Sano. Like, the guy ate himself out of third base, and now he's striking out at a 50% clip, right? No, he's not. Yeah, he's had a slump recently, and he's striking out more than he should. But like, he's not a shit player. Like, he's not ruining the team. And I don't know where this laziness thing comes from. Maybe it's because he's like Jay Cutler, where he doesn't show like a shitload of emotion, so he must not care. And he must be lazy as fuck. Dude, the guy is fucking ripped. You can't get like that being a lazy motherfucker.
Right.
I don't get the lazy thing. And the lazy thing is why I think, because like I get it. If you don't like him, you're like, he has not lived up to his potential. He should be better than he is. Fine. I get that. You call him lazy though, you're just coming up with a reason to not like this guy. And that's why I think he's overhated.
Yeah.
Bad clubhouse guy. Fucking goes to Hooters in Maryville, Indiana too much.
Madrigal's the bad clubhouse guy.
Only on the way out. Only on the way out.
And we never knew.
We're going to find out all the bad shit about Moncada after he
Nick
leaves.
Madrigal. Lazy ass Nick Madrigal.
That lazy ass motherfucker.
All right. Beef. Who you got?
I mean, it's the base of the argument for me. I put this on Twitter before. Leury Garcia is overhated. Leury Garcia is what he is. He's always been what he is. He's just a utility player. And yet, when the guy is struggling, everyone's fucking bodying him. I can't wait to get rid of Leury Garcia, all this shit. When he's hot as a pistol and carrying this offense, I don't hear any of them motherfuckers saying a goddamn thing. But he's always been the same guy. And then this year, when these guys couldn't answer the goddamn bell and get on the field, guess who was out there? Guess who was performing? Guess who was filling those spots? It's Leury Garcia. You need a Leury Garcia. You need him out there on that fence. You need him out there playing second base or shortstop or third base or any of the outfield corners, wherever the fuck. He plays everywhere, and he does an okay job. I get all of him. Oh, he doesn't belong a starter. Well, then these other guys need to fucking stay healthy, all right? It's not his fault. He's in there because he has to be in there, and he does enough, and he's so overhated. It's like, if I never see Leury Garcia again. Well, you know what? You're going to see some other utility guy, and he probably won't be as good. Y'all were over there kissing Danny Mendick's ball sack.
Yeah,
and
hairy ball sack.
Leury Garcia is much better player than
Mustachioed ball sack.
Much better player than Danny Mendick.
Beef, are we in the trust tree? The tree of trust?
Yeah.
I overhate Leury Garcia.
This is
I know it.
To say it.
I know it. And you know why? You know why I know this?
Why?
Is because when he was on a hot streak, I didn't even fucking notice. You could go back when he was find the timeline when he was on a hot streak.
Yeah.
I talk shit about him in every podcast during that. Guy is ripping the cover off the ball. I'm like, fuck this guy. It's gonna go away. He sucks. I don't want him.
That old Truck Chiluk was over there like, Larry Garcia. You know, like he would get so excited about him at the post game.
And then I fucking Beef. I'm like, you know, I'm so glad we got Cesar Hernandez. I'm gonna take a look at the numbers and just show people how much fucking better he is than Larry Garcia. And I looked at Larry Garcia's numbers. I was like, yeah, Larry's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yep. He's definitely not a starter. He's absolutely not a starter. I think we're all in agreement on that. But like, I agree. Like, people want to chase Larry out of town. I want to chase Larry out of town, and it's unfounded. You know, I just want an all-star at every position, and even on the bench. And you're not going to get that. But
it's not too much to ask.
But a boy can dream, or an old-ass Chirizi could dream.
I also had I had two, so I'm not gonna.
Get
I have
down.
One that's good, but I also had Garcia as an overhated, and the stat that I chose to point out how he's overhated is he has 40 RBIs, which is tied with Tim Anderson, and he has 6 less than Moncada. And I know Moncada's been struggling, and Tim Anderson's been struggling too, but these are top tier, supposed to be top tier hitters, and Larry Garcia is right fucking there. You know what I mean? Because I was looking at all these other things, and I'm like, well, he's in the top 4, top 5 a lot, but a lot of his plate appearances and that bullshit, so that doesn't really count. But you know, still, it's just like, hey, he's getting runs in. But the guy I'm going to go with is overhated, and he was already touched on briefly by Chorizo, is Cease. 8-6 with the 3.9 ERA. Like, it's just like people are like, God, that fucking Cease fucking sucks. God damn it, you motherfucker. You know, and he's not that bad, or he's a goddamn bum slayer. I know he doesn't like it. He's gonna just beat bums. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? Who cares? He's getting wins, you know, like he's doing well. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I feel like Cease gets a lot of hate. I also think that Cease also doesn't get people don't give him a little bit of a break for getting rushed up way too fast and finally getting into his mental shoes this year. I feel like he's starting to figure it out, and the results have shown on the field, especially with all those goddamn strikeouts. Like, he knows his role. He's a real smooth talker. He's got an oddly loud voice, you know, oddly no inflection when he talks, but like, I love everything about him.
So I love this one, my Sox Summer. And one of the things you notice about Cease this year, it's different than the first 2 years, is he's starting to trust his stuff more, in the fact that he's like, you know what? I know my shit is tough to hit. I'm just going to throw it roughly in this section. I'm not going to try and spot it. I'm just going to throw it kind of in that area. You fucking see if you can hit it. And most people can't. So it's good. He's getting a little more confidence in his shit, and he's realizing, I got great stuff, and I'm just going to let you give it a shot. See if you can do something with it.
So MSS, one fun little story here is me and Beef were having some delicious Goose Island beers out in stands not too long ago, and we were chatting about, like, it actually came up. We were talking about Yohan and about, you know, the expectations of the Chris Sale trade, and I was like, you got to kind of look at that whole set of trades, you know, together, right? Because you're going to win some more than you're going to, you know, you're going to lose some, and you're going to find, did you overall come out ahead on the guys that you traded for the guys that you got? And we were talking about the Quintana, you know, I brought up the Quintana trade, and, you know, my mind, I'm just thinking, you got Eloy, right? Like, Beef goes, you won the Quintana trade with Cease.
Yes,
you did.
And it's true.
Flat out. Cease beats Quintana in that trade. You won it just with him. And Eloy is the cherry on top. Eloy's become the extra guy in that trade.
Yeah.
If you look at it rationally,
nuts, right? And like, you don't think about it that way, but Cease has had the longer span in the league and has done more, and he's been better than Quintana.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is like, Quintana was traded like at top of his market, right? Like 100% top.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it.
And
like, if you traded stocks like they traded Quintana, you'd be a billionaire.
But like, I would say normally, like a normal team that's like competing and has it, and would not have traded a Quintana at that time, right? Like they would have kept him around and he would have struggled with you like you do with the Cubs.
Yeah.
But it was just the right place at the right time on that trade. That was, a little payback for the George Bell, Sammy Sosa trade. And so, hey, sorry guys, that's just what happens. But yeah, no, that's unfortunate because I really liked Jose Quintana. Like I thought he was dope. That guy was awesome and he was fun. You always felt bad for him until he got to the Cubs, and then he struggled there. And you're like, well, that happens. We knew poor Jose was going to come around again, and he definitely came around again. So, yeah.
Oh, shit.
All right, my Sox summer. I think you're up. I don't know what you're going to talk about. So just
First thing I got to talk about.
Go for it.
Next Tuesday, the good folks at Goose Island are bringing us to you live at 3434 South Halstead, Buffalo Wings and Rings, our home turf. This is the best event. Well, not the best. This is going to be the easiest travel to event for all three of us and Josh Nelson. I can stumble home from this. This is going to be great. This is like the best one for us to get to. We don't have to worry about it. I can walk. It's going to be fun. So Tuesday, August 10th, 6 p.m. We're going to start with the live recording of the podcast. We're probably going to be in section 108 over there, Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll be slamming White Sox Goose Island beer, Golden Ales. That's what we will be drinking exclusively. I'm pretty sure because usually the Goose guys just start throwing buckets in front of us. And they're just like, here, please drink all this. Show everybody how much you love our beer. And we gladly do that. We even pay for it if we have to. So that's the first thing. So come out next Tuesday, Buffalo Wings and Rings, 6 o'clock. We'll do the podcast. After that, order up some wings. We'll be smashing wings. We'll be watching TV. Maybe we'll get that VIP chicken sandwich they got over there. That shit's dope too. So if you're more of a sandwich guy, it's good.
Keep count of the wings. I want people I want you guys tweeting out how many fucking wings you crush. I want to know who eats the most wings that night.
So last time I wanted to eat 108 tacos. We go in to order the third plate of 8 tacos, and Loaf goes, "Bro, no more tacos." I'm like, I go, "What?" And he's like, "No, man, we shouldn't get any more tacos." I'm like, "Fuck, all right." So when I came home, I had a couple pieces of toast because I still wasn't full after I ate 16 tacos. But when we got the next day in the group chat, Wolf goes, "Man, we should have got more tacos."
Because I was full, but I wasn't uncomfortable on the drive home. I should have been like, "Oh my God, I can't move on the ride home." We should have that many tacos.
They were lean and mean tacos. Good steak tacos. They make a good steak taco down there. Now,
that was actually at the office.
Yeah, that was at the office. But Buffalo Wings and Rings, definitely gotta go with the wings. Definitely. What's the first thing we ordered? Put on that fucking plate, put on that table. Some goddamn pretzel wings and some queso. Like maybe Justin will break out the queso fountain again for us, and we'll be dunking shit in there. Who knows? You know that Aloha Mr. Hand will be there chugging queso. It's gonna be a great time. Plus we're really close. It's just going to be fun. So make sure you make your plans, show up next Tuesday, August 10th at 6 p.m. I know they're taking reservations, so call over there and get a reservation. Now, on to the next one. Welcome to August, motherfuckers. You all be thinking, you know what? Summer's over. I don't need no tank top. Well, that's dumb fuck talk. We got a shitload of hot weather left in August as well as September. So get your ass over to FromThe108.com and click on the banner ad and buy you something nice. I got some of the new OG 108 shirts in that fancy Chicago colorway. The Chicago flag color. You remember the OGs? Baseball and bullshit and baseball and bullshit all up on the back. Our logo on the front. I'm stocked and I'm ready to ship. So you make your order today. I also have totally 90s raglans if you think that the warm weather is over. Fellas, I think I'm going to tie-dye some 108 gear this weekend, and I want to know if our audience wants me to do it. We did this on vacation, so I'm going to fucking tie-dye up a bunch of little tank tops. I'll throw them up there on the 108 site. Somebody should buy them. Or if you want something special, tell me what you like, and I'll fucking make it for you. So I'm going to do some men's and some women's tank tops, tie-dye them, and then I'm going to throw them up on the site, and we'll see if people will buy them. So,
oh man, I love that idea.
So come hit up from the 108, and then Loaf's gone, and order some shit. Oh, he's on the bottom now.
I didn't go anywhere. I just got, for some reason, I got kicked backstage. And I was like, oh, I'm still here, like, but I'm backstage now.
Really? You got kicked?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you went to like go piss. Did you wash your hands?
I didn't go anywhere.
Right.
I just sat here.
No, so I'm gonna tie dye some gear this
You
weekend
had some albuterol.
because I got like 2 tie dye kits that we had on vacation. And so I made some pretty wicked socks. I'll put them up. I'll put the stuff that I made up so people can see my skills. Like, I don't feel like I'm like a good Grateful Dead tie dyer yet, but I might get there. We might get there. We'll see what happens.
White Sox L is up in the chat and wants to know, have we sent the cease and desist to the Sox over their 90s night? As it looks eerily like this design right here. I don't know if you've seen it yet, My Sox Summer, but
No, I haven't seen it. They have a 90s night logo.
yeah, and it looks a lot like our fresh 90s logo. So I don't know. You have to check it out.
All right,
It's
let me check
something
it out.
else. Something else. But fellas, you know what it's time for? It's time for last call.
Yes.
Bringing back
Baby.
last call. And if you're unfamiliar, all this is each of us brings a topic. Doesn't have to be anything baseball related. It could be whatever we want to talk about. And I'm going to kick it off tonight. We're going to get just something. I think this is fairly straightforward. I think we've all experienced this in our life. What's something that people think you should love, but you're just not into? Right? Like, so I'll give you an example. I'm a bass player. I actually play a Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks I should just love Rush. And I respect Rush. I won't, if Rush comes on the radio, I don't like just turn it off. I own 0 Rush albums. I'm just not a Rush fan. I'm not like they're fine. Right? Like, but people are always like, oh, I know you gotta love Rush. I'm just like, no, I don't. And so it's people get pissed at me. It's unbelievable. So what's something that people think that you guys would love that you're just not really into?
Oh man.
I got one for you. This is like a isolated incident, but I'll tell the story. So, back in the day when I first started, bacon on cheeseburgers, that's overrated. Oh man, I like a bacon on the cheese. I think bacon is a little overused, but not what I'm going to use here.
That's good.
I'm with Jim.
Back in the day when I first started working, you'd go out to all the street festivals and stuff. I went to Old St. Pat's Block Party. And there, we just went with a bunch of friends. It's like, all right, they got beer tents, all this stuff, and they're playing music and all this shit. So we just happened to be hanging out, and I'm just standing there. I'm not even really into the music at all. And Rusted Root's playing, and like, this is like, apparently kids who just graduated college love Rusted Root, but I didn't go to college away. I commuted to college. So a young lady, and I'm there with my future wife. We're not married yet, but we're hanging out and stuff. She's standing a little further away from me. And a woman comes up, she's talking to me or whatever, and she's like, she grabs me, she's like, you gotta love Rusted Root. I'm like, actually, I think Rusted Root sucks. And like, she like slapped me in the arm and was like, she was upset and just stormed off. So apparently, I look like I should like Rusted Root, but
no, you don't.
Thought Rusted Root sucked. I thought Rusted Root was terrible.
I still remember this night because I was at a bar or something, and like I just get a text from Beef. And he's like, I'm at St. Pat's, whatever it was, St. Pat's Block Party or something, I think it was. And it's just like, there's 100,000 people here. 99,999 of these assholes love Rusted Root.
That's the odd man out. Fuck that Rusted Root shit.
Unless it was the 90s and you were wearing a pair of corduroys. I don't know why anybody would think that you're into Rusted Root. I just can't see it.
People are drunk and happy and they're enjoying Rusted Root. And I was like, I don't care
the bacon on burgers dislike is growing. I'm impressed.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
Oh, dude.
Impressive.
I stopped on Sunday when we were coming from the soak and we were going to the game. I stopped at the little hot dog place that's by the tennis courts at Armour, and I got a double cheeseburger with bacon on it.
Okay.
And the bacon, like, I'm not a big fan of like crispy bacon. I like almost like a half cooked, bacon.
I do too. I like my
kind of
bacon
a little
raw.
little bit more rubbery.
Yeah,
you know, because then I feel like you get a better flavor. Because if it's very, very overly cooked, like my wife loves it overcooked, and it just tastes like burnt meat, and I'm like, I don't like this. This isn't good. Like I smoked for years. I can go smoke a cigarette if I want to have carcinogens go in me. You know, so it's just I want some flavor to my bacon. But I'll say this is the one thing that I always go to in this, and I don't know if I should again, because I could get to another one, but my initial reaction is Wilco. Everyone always tells me how much I love Wilco or how good Wilco is.
Yeah.
You should listen to Wilco. Oh, you're from Chicago? You must like Wilco. No, I don't fucking like Wilco. I don't like anything they do. I've listened to their shit. It's not good. I don't like it. And I don't care if it makes me some bullshit Chicago person. No, I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him with his son in another band. I don't give a fuck. No fucking.
I love this.
Summer's like fuck Summer Teeth.
Jeff,
fuck
it's
Jeff
Jeff something, right? Jeff Tweedy. Fuck Jeff Tweedy. Fuck Jeff Tweedy's son. I mean, I don't give a shit. Like the guy is like the second coming of Christ in Chicago to like indie rock people. I don't give a fuck. And I really like the Chicago scene. Probably not as much as Chirizi, but I'm like a big scene supporter.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I tried to stomach it so many years, and I just can't because everyone's like, it's so good. It's so good. Like, I'll even cave. I'll be like, Pavement, okay. Wilco, not okay. Don't like it. Nope. Don't like it at all.
MSS says most overloved in the Chicago music scene, Jeff Tweedy.
I love it.
I like that Pugs has said it. I've never heard that before. An anti-Wilco rant. Well, I think
like, I'm here for it. Slimy Bacon does
done
rule,
it a couple times.
Slimy Bacon does rule. That's me and MSS are both in on that Slimy Bacon.
I thought he was. I thought this was that Michael Caine movie. I thought he didn't like that. That's what I thought.
No, I don't like Wilco. It's just something that sticks out of my head. It's just like everyone loves him. And like, you should like him, and I don't like him. I don't like him.
Sal, I think Sal Cornsey would fight you on this, but I think there's definitely people in this that feel like brunch is overrated. It's another overloved scenario here.
It's overloved. It's almost as overloved as Andrew Vaughn, but not quite.
Beef, I don't even remember. Did I ask you what your answer was?
No. I don't know if you did.
Rusted root.
That was rusted root. Rusted root.
Because all these people love
just
rusted
by
root.
happenstance, rusted root was
it's sad that anyone would think you love them.
It is.
It's sad that anyone would love rusted root. Not just anyone would think I would, but anyone in general would love it.
They had that one song that was popular. Well, my mom likes them.
I know. I played it like 4 times.
Like, send me on my way.
I know.
My way.
Yeah.
They started and ended the show with it. I like when bands have that many good songs.
All right, guys, we're playing it one more time. Get your camera phones ready. Tell your friends. Hashtag rusted root. Let's do it.
There's no hashtagging back then.
Well, they should be.
Am I hashtagging? My Suck Summer, what's on your mind, man?
So I don't know if you guys know. I think you do. We're not at the game.
Oh, I see that.
You're not on the internet anymore.
Game. We're not at the game. Guess who shows up? The fucking entire Score people. All the people from the goddamn Score go to a game Tuesday night. None of us are there. And they fucking, what do? They come into our section. They're hanging out. And they talked about it on air. Now, when I got the initial message from Mr. Han, is like, hey, a bunch of Score people are here. And I'm like, oh, fuck. It's Wally, Pete, and probably Luke. I'm like, these guys, I have a lot of FOMO right now. I'm like, I wish I was there. I could kind of direct the conversation a little different way. But I trusted those 3 guys. Because Wally knows better than to talk about some stupid shit. Now, they did say in the broadcast, like one guy was like, we got one more thing to bring up. And then he he asked Shane if he should, bring it up, and Shane goes, "Yeah, no, don't bring that up." Like, so I was like, well, okay, that's probably a Wally story. Like, you probably shouldn't talk about that. But no, I was like, these guys are probably going to represent our brand very well. So it was Parkins and Spiegel who do afternoons. I think they're the 2 to 6 slot over there on the Score. And then 2 other guys. I don't know their names, but I'm not going to throw their same. I'm not going to throw the same joke back at them that they threw at us in the podcast or their show. Shane Reardon and Chris Tannehill. And they refer Spiegel's
Well, Herbie was there too, right?
I don't think so.
Because I saw Herbie took the picture.
Yeah, he was there, Chris, but Treasy, but he didn't talk about it on the show.
They were, he didn't
show talking about it.
Yeah, but Tanny did throw a good slight at him in the show, and he said because Spiegel was like, oh, Tannehill's like these guys gods, and I was like, Tannehill's not a god. There's no way. Like he's not my god. I would hope that my god would never have to ask me, a guy with zero connects in the sports talk, industry, to get him a bobblehead. Like, I figure this guy could probably figure it out himself, but he keeps asking me, hey, he's like, yo, can I get one of them bobbleheads? Like, can you make sure I get one? Like, dude, you have all the fucking contacts. I don't have any contacts. What the fuck? So anyway, but no, he said so he's talking about how he's a god, and fucking Tannehill. I'm fucking up names already. Tannehill's like, I don't think I'm on like the Herb level, with these guys, like I'm not there. He's like, and Mr. Lawrence, who wears a Lawrence 33 jersey around and then wonders why people recognize him when he's out at events. I was like, oh, that was a solid burn.
Shots
on our
fired
man
right
Herb.
there. Shots fired.
So yeah, I thought it was great, but like, no. So I listened to the segment. Luke sent us the segment, so I was listening to it. I listened to it twice, and I like just listening to Spiegel say, oh, who's that big sexy guy I was talking to? And then they're like, that's Wally. And then he goes, man, I like that guy. And I was like, yes, they got good Wally. They got good Wally. Yes. And I also got a text from our guy at the Sox with a picture of Wally like pounding a beer, where Spiegel's talking to him, not giving 2 fucks about whatever he's saying. And I'm like, this is perfect, right? So like he got that stuff out of there. Now, the one thing that I was just a little disappointed in, when they say, yeah, we went down to see all the 108 guys. And then they bring up a guy who we see about every 3 weeks, maybe, Colin.
3 months.
Yeah, it was apparently very intoxicated. And I don't think they put him into our group, like, and said, oh, this 108 guy. But they were nice. The nice thing about it was, like, they were like, he's hammered. He's saying shit. He's hammered. I'm glad they got his story, Like, to me, if we can't be there, at least they got like something really good, And another thing that I thought was great, like when they said they were talking about, a lot of single guys down there, single dudes, a lot of dudes. So I kept saying it, and I was like, this is all just a ploy to get some chicks out there for our single dudes. Aloha, Mr. Hand and Brewhand Luke. Like, they just keep saying single dudes, fun times, drinking, big sexy, like all these things to just attract the females into that section. And no time. We're going to have Brewhand Luke hooked up and Aloha Mr. Hand. I feel like that's it. So what did you guys think about that segment after you heard it?
Beef, you
can start.
Well, okay, a couple things. You forgot to mention they did bring up that King Nam was there.
Oh, they did bring up Nam.
You forgot Nam.
It's hard to forget him.
Just like they forgot us on purpose. Now,
I didn't do that on purpose.
I noticed the way Shane and Chris Tannehill said it. They were like, yeah, they said, Mr. Hand and Wally and King Nam. No, those are the only guys in the 108. They didn't mean those are the only guys in the 108 last night. What they meant was they're the only guys in the 108. And I know why they did that. I know why they weren't trying to slight us. All right. We like them guys, respect them guys. We've had a few beefs with Chris Tannehill. And I kind of agree with Matt Spiegel that Chris Tannehill is well liked, amongst our group of friends. And so is Shane. Shane's well liked as well amongst our group of friends. But what they had to do here, with no doubt, is they have their bosses there effectively, right? These are the guys, the stars of the show. They can't take them to the infamous section and it's like, you didn't get the OGs. You didn't get the originals. You didn't get the experience. They can't play it like that on the air because then they're gonna look like fools. Like, oh, we got the, it's like in Spaceballs, we got the stunt doubles. You know, we captured was the stunt doubles. Like, and I love my guys. That's why my guys are there. We love King Nam and we love Mr. Hand and Wally and Luke, and that's why that's the crew when we hang out there or whatever. But they couldn't get egg on the faces of their hosts. The hosts don't know. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who the originals are. None of that shit. So like, I think they were just playing it safe on air. I didn't think it was a diss to us. You gotta call ahead if you wanna meet with the Dons.
Well,
that's right.
We got inside information from old Mitch Rosen that you guys were coming, and we were like, you know what? I told them, I'm like, don't go. They don't deserve to meet you guys yet. I go, I'm in Wisconsin, so I'm not going to be there. Don't go. And so they didn't go.
We can't all be at the sit down, so we can't all go.
You can't. You got to meet Thunderlings before you meet the top guys. That's just how it is. That's how this little thing works.
Associates first. That's right.
This thing of ours. That's how it goes.
Dude, they checked it out and made sure we weren't there first, because Tanny has still not fixed the beef between me and him after disrespecting me, and so he had to look down there and be like, I don't want to go get down there with Treasy's down there. So they peeked around, man. They peeked around and they knew we weren't there. Plus, Herb was up there with us in Milwaukee. We were sitting there having beers post game. Plenty of time to have a sit down with us and see if it was okay for those guys to come to the section. He didn't. He knew. He knew it wasn't okay.
Okay.
So he just, he said, why don't you wait till they're not going to be there? We'll talk with the associates, and then we'll get you guys fixed up eventually. That's what went down.
I like Lude bringing up my Parkins my preseason rant when they brought on Don Cooper. That would have been a very uncomfortable situation, I think. But I don't think he heard it. Possibly didn't hear it. I also heard that they brought down some libations from Goose Island. So, I mean, we would have been.
I like that.
I mean, if there's anything it's like the three wise men, when Jesus was born, they brought him gifts. Like, I'd rather have a Sox golden ale than frankincense and myrrh. I appreciate that. And I'm glad. I hope people drank them, because if they didn't, right in the kisser. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'll tell you what though, man. You guys mentioned it, but like, they had to have such a good time just having Wally tell stories.
Question.
I mean, that's a guy who could spin a yarn, man. Like, I will listen to Wally stories all night. I don't necessarily want to look at the pictures that go along with the stories, but
they don't do that no more, man.
But those are prior stories. I wonder if he went into the scratch and sniff section of the pictures for these guys.
You never know. Maybe he did. Maybe that's why Spiegel liked him so much. Like, this guy has the best picked stories I've ever seen.
He's like, you should see what I pulled off my old Motorola Razr, sir. I had some great videos. Just the quality's not so good. It's on my backup hard drive.
That's great. Oh shit.
All right.
What about you, Teresa? They nothing more than that. What about the score, guys?
I commented on it.
You did.
That's all I had to say. Right. That's all. I don't have a lot to say about it. Beef. Yeah. Give us your last call, man.
All right. So you guys remember back in the day how terrible Jose Abreu was playing defense, right? He was awful. He's a goddamn butcher at first. And then over time, he's kind of worked his way back, and he's become a better defender. And you might even say he's like a little bit above average defender. And so I was thinking about this a little bit. I was thinking, what's something that you guys were fucking awful at, but then you worked at, and you got to be solidly average, maybe slightly above average at? And I'll be happy to start, because something that I was horrible at when I first started, and I eventually got to the point where I was maybe a little bit better than average, was driving. When I first went to driver's ed and range,
I love him. He's a really good driver.
When I went to range, I was like Prince Akeem when he was first mopping at McDonald's. That was me. That was me at the range. I didn't even know how any of the things move or any of the shit, so I was the worst one when I started my range. And then, I told Mad Max, I'm like, this is embarrassing. I don't know how to drive at all. He's like, okay, took me in back of the yards, and he coached me up a little bit. And by the end, you do your traffics at the end, right? You got to go out in the world. And my last traffic test, the instructor's like, I've driven with you before already. You don't need to drive at all. So I didn't have to fucking drive my last one. He's like, I know you know what you're doing. No problem. And so like I went from the worst one by far to like, okay, you're good enough. Don't worry about it. So do you guys have any examples in your life of like shit where you're just like, you started doing it and you were like way the fuck behind everybody else and you were able to catch up?
I do. You want to go first, Terezi?
Sure. I'll go.
Go ahead.
I'll go with one. So, and I think it's probably public speaking. In more so, not this, right? Because like I'm drunk, so what like there's not a lot of problems.
Still counts though.
But like presenting in school or in the business world, like, dude, I would get really nervous and I'd freeze up and kind of just have problems being able to like present a project or something like that, and I actually I went to, when I was in college, I had a roommate and he was tremendous at it. Like, Beef, you probably remember Ken. Ken was just like a guy, like he'd walk in a room and just be able to talk to everybody in the room.
Yep.
And it was funny because like I had like a presentation coming up and he's like, just fucking give me the whole presentation, man. I'll sit here and listen to it. Like I gave him like a 15-minute presentation, which is weird. And you remember our apartment, like, so I'm just sitting in front of the table with all the like the cow skins on it, and fucking telling this, this presentation. And he's like, yeah, who gives a fuck? Like no one's like, he's like, half the people aren't going to even pay attention to this. He's like, just go out there and say it. Like, who cares? And like, it was like one of those things like, oh yeah, you know what? Like I've watched a million presentations. I remember like 2. Like it's like, so like there's got to be like a little bit of a part of you when you're going to give a presentation like that, where you want people to actually pay attention and you want people to engage with what you're saying, but you also realize that like 90% of them are not going to give a shit. 90% are not going to remember what you said. So why even stress about it? Right. Like, and so once I was able to remove that stress from it, it was just like, I would do this shit all the time. Like at work, when people are like, hey, I need you to present this thing tomorrow. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just do it. And I think that that's a skill that is not easy to do. You have to go out and say like, I will present and volunteer to do this over and over and over to get good at it. Just like drinking, you need to do it over and over and over to get good at it.
Well, I think you're right, Tracy. You need the reps and you need the lack of fear. You need to realize, look, I'm the expert on this fucking subject and no one knows more than about me. And you're like, most people aren't going to be paying attention or even know. They're going to be more impressed if you make them laugh a couple times and you give them 1 or 2 nuggets that they can really take away and they'll remember.
And if any of you guys are thinking like, oh, I don't believe this shit. What are you talking about? Who's my OverLoved player? You don't remember. All right. So my Sox summer, you could jump in here.
I guess the thing that I would say, if I hadn't thrown up after getting totally wrecked at Cork and Carry a couple weeks back, I'd say I got better at drinking, but I definitely haven't. So I can't use that one. But when I went to college, and I would tell people when I decided I was going to college and I decided on my major, I would tell people, what I was going to major in, which was art. And people would give me this look like, but you never took any art classes like in high school. And I didn't. I only took like graphic design and computer art. And so I knew how to do that, but I didn't know any of the other stuff. Well, to major in graphic design and whatnot, you had to go into all the remedial art classes. So when I first started my drawing 101 class, I was fucking awful. It was 100% awful. Like if I could take, I remember it's in my head. Like I drew like a stick, like the corner of a table, and it was just fucking horrible. And thank God, like we had a good like teacher who came over and was like, yeah, this is fucking awful. Like and said, but you're gonna be fine. Like just let me show you these techniques. And so Tom Thayer, great guy.
Tom Thayer, wow.
Yeah, not the guy from the Bears. But like
God,
used
I
to like
confused.
Dude,
I'm sorry.
We had
common name,
great,
very common name.
it's so odd. But like he was in a band. He used to give us like mixed tapes and mixed CDs and shit. And like we listened to great music in class. I took him for 2 semesters because he was just like that awesome. And it was just fun. And he enjoyed us, like as a class, and then also enjoyed him as an instructor. And he was just so fucking cool. But anyway, like, yeah, I mean, and then it's just like, hey, this is how you do this, and then you do this, and it's just like, just open the fuck up. Like, don't be so focused on little things. Yeah. Look at the big picture and then come into the little. So that was probably like the biggest like eye-opening thing to like looking at things. People were naturally good at, you're naturally good at writing a paper, or you're naturally good at doing math, but like you're naturally good at drawing, or whatever. But it's a skill, and you can learn that skill if you put the time and effort into learning it and like paying attention to stuff. Because like I think a lot of people would be like, I'm not a good drawer, I'm not going to major in art. But I never thought that way. I was like, I want to do this, so I had to do that. I have to go into art, so I have to figure out how I'm supposed to paint and how I'm supposed to draw, so I can figure this stuff out, and then I'll figure it. I'll be fine. And I did. I was fine. I got a fucking degree in sculpture because that makes a lot of sense, so no big deal. So.
Treasy, when he's talking about painting, it's like he's first starting. All I could think of is that Chappelle skit when Chappelle thinks that Oprah's having his baby and he's painting the nude and it's just a stick figure with the boobs. I assume that's my Sox Summer's first painting when he was in college.
No. You know what I was thinking? When I
my last painting
is that like, we were at the Sox game and they got like the thing where you could go and get like the 3D print of your body and they like to give you the little figurine. And we're talking about getting them. Why the fuck are we talking about? My Sox Summer could sculpt us.
Yes. Yes.
Like that's way better. Like let me ask the people in the comments. How much would you pay for a My Sox Summer sculpture of the 3 of us in the hot tub? Man. And the bidding starts at $1 million.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Now, would these be nude sculptures, or are we clothed in these sculptures?
We never did.
We'll post nude.
Actual sculpture.
It's up to the artist. It's up to MSS what he wants to do with it.
What he wants to do.
The thing about sculpture is like, or sculpture class at NIU especially, there were people that did like use different materials to like make stuff, but it was also just kind of like free form, do whatever the fuck you want. It was like the one class there was like no rules. Like our instructor was from Canada, and he just was like, fuck, do whatever you want. He's like, you can sculpt a bubble gum or plywood, I don't give a fuck, figure something out. So I made like a bunch of weird art that at some point I'll showcase to everybody. But it is like when we're about ready to get all this shit over. When we want to end the 108, I will release all the pictures of this.
I think
read that one, Treasy. Read that one.
I think Dale just asked for you to become blind and do a Lionel Richie bust.
That is a great bit. That was a great video.
Perfect.
But yeah, no, that's some fun shit. But no, I don't think I could sculpt us. Like, I imagine the amount of clay I need for your ass and your brother's nose. Like, it would just be so much, and my belly. To be honest,
mine on ass.
All right,
how are you gonna sculpt my flat ass?
If I.
It makes up for it. That's true. That's right.
Yeah, buying some clay.
If I got you enough clay, would you sculpt my ass? Would you?
Yes. Juicy double.
Let's do it.
Dear Penthouse Forum.
It started like every regular Tuesday night at Buffalo Wings and Rings. I showed up with a bunch of clay.
After eating 47 wings and 12 beers, my Sox Summer said, "You know what I could do with this clay?" All right, that's
the show poll. Just to update you, it's 7 minutes left. Wolf of Wall Street has a commanding lead, 51% of the vote. I'm just upset that Wall Street only has 13%. I'm showing my age by putting Wall Street in there.
I've never seen it.
Can I tell you something that will blow your mind? And my Sox Summer just blew mine. I've not seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
I've seen it. I don't know. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine, but
That doesn't make me want to see it.
Wait a second, though.
It was
What
okay.
didn't you like about it?
I mean, it just didn't. It was nothing. I don't know. It's just like it was wild cocaine, goofy stuff. Like,
But it was funny.
Yeah, it was fine. I didn't really love it. I thought it was okay. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't anything.
When he took those, I don't know what the what were
Yeah,
those?
he was trying to get into his car, and he's like,
Yes!
yeah.
Yeah, if
And,
you've
like-
seen Basketball Diaries, I mean, like,
Same shit.
And he takes like 2 of them, but
Yeah.
he can't get home, and the
He's like
guy's like
Quaaludes,
calling
right?
on his phone, and he's like he has to get home.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's one of the greatest
Just
scenes
can't-
in modern
just can't-
cinema.
Just can't get in the car. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. Like he's crawling, like because he's
like-
so fucked up. Oh, it's
it's like
great.
me trying to get home from Pearl Jam when I was 15.
And on that note,
We're done.
we'll see you Tuesday at Buffalo
Hell
Wings
yes.
and Rings at 6 p.m. That's over. Where's that at? Oh, where's that
34?
at?
That's at 3434 South Halsted.
All right.
In Chicago, Illinois, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
Josh Nelson will be there, and we will have some Sox people there. We also have a shitload of stuff from the Sox to give away. And yeah, special guest galore. So be ready.
And we will have lewds.
Allegedly.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace, everybody.